I've been I've been out here running my mouth for about 8 minutes or whatever. I've been out here running my mouth for a while. Y'all ain't heard a damn word that I said, man. How unfortunate. Um, but we're gonna get to it. What's it say? Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me now? If y'all can hear me in the comments, let me know. And I appreciate Shandini giving me a call. All right, thank you, thank you, thank you. Sorry about that. That damn mic was muted. Yes, sir. We are live and direct. We are here. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. It's been 9 minutes too long already that I've been talking to myself. So we're not going to waste any more time. But a quick, small introduction is going to be yes, indeed. Big shout out to CJ Mondo. Big shout out to Enrique from AHW. Shout out to them boys, been showing us a lot of love, like I was telling myself for 9 minutes. And appreciation to y'all. A lot of interesting things going on in Carbon. A lot of positivity, different things that have been going on. I'm pretty sure that DJ Chaotic is backstage and heard every word that I said. And we're gonna have some good laughs when he walks in here right now. But y'all didn't hear what the hell I was talking about. Sorry about that. But yeah, shout out to y'all. Much love. You already know what it is. Um, and CJ Mondo really put this thing together. Let me make sure. It says, okay, we got Nick Kai Ken. All right. All right. I was saying I had my back turned. I didn't know that the mic was muted. Sorry about that. But got different people in the comments. I'm trying to keep up. But yeah, much love to y'all. Much love to, you know, want a big shout out to Enrique for sending me that great message that went up on Facebook. It meant a lot to me. And the reason it meant a lot to me before we started, just because um, I think a lot of us don't get enough credit and call for the time we put in. And you got e-fetters and car promoters out there who have no idea what they're doing. They really don't belong in a position to be a promoter. And I think I busted my ass for a long time. And I've always been the type of guy to show respect to every single promotion. The only time that I don't show respect to a promotion is if I know the person is corrupt and if I know the organization is corrupt. And that's just how I work. And I'm open to all of my talent working with whoever they want to work with. Why would I stop my talent? I know there's promotions out there that I'm not going to name. One in particular that I'm thinking about that's on Instagram. I'm not going to say their name, but they're exclusive and they like to keep their talent specific to the brand. And I'm not against it entirely. I think that type of stuff is important. If you take something like a FAM, and no, I'm not referencing them and taking shots at them or talking about them. I'm using them as an example. It is not the promotion I'm talking about. But you take a FAM, FAN, I guess they may have put some money into their channel. They had thousands of subscribers, that I'm assuming were real and wasn't bots. And they left an indelible mark on call for many, many years, way before I even started on YouTube on this channel. So big shout out to them for sure. But you take a top brand like that'll get a mention from 2K or whatnot, and I can understand why you would want to make your talent exclusive. But when you talk about CAW as a whole, I just think that people should be open minded to their people working with other promotions and whatnot. I just think that if you consider a promotion home, you should be dedicated, indebted, and loyal to that brand. You know what I mean? But you have different performers in our industry and call that they like to do things differently, different styles. Some people like EFED, some people like simulation. They do different things. Some people do highlight reels, some people do PvP in our case. And then you have people who are like call PvP players and people who are just, they play the role, if you will. So you have different styles, that go out, and I think that you know, respect and love to everybody, but you know, it's a different cup of tea for everybody, you know. So, but big shout out to everybody. I don't want to take too much time. I want to bring my guests in here momentarily, and I want to thank CJ Mondo. CJ Mondo put this thing together for DJ Chaotic to be here with y'all, and y'all ask him whatever questions you want. Nothing is off the table. I'm not going to stop this man. I didn't tell him there's things you can and cannot say. We need to be more open-minded on this platform and stop censoring people so goddamn much. Respect people. We're grown adults. We shouldn't be acting like children, getting offended and bitching and crying over everything. Grow the fuck up and act your age and understand that public speech is a real thing and everybody has an opinion. You don't have to agree with that opinion, but you have to be open minded that not every single person is going to think like you, be like you, want to follow what you follow. Everybody has their own methods, their own philosophy. Without further ado, I want to take this opportunity and y'all smash that like button for sure because I want to take the opportunity finally. Um, been talking for a long time. Jesus Christ. Take the opportunity to go ahead and introduce a man that has been backstage. I have not been able to talk with this man. We've been messaging each other back and forth. And I had the opportunity to talk with him now, see what he's about. And this man is CJ Mondo's TNA television champion, uh, six shooter promo artist. Please welcome to the stage right now, finally, DJ Chaotic. DJ Chaotic,
What's
finally,
up? What's
welcome to
up?
the
Yep. It's been a
show.
pleasure. It's been an honor. Thanks to CJ for setting this up. You know how I go.
For
I'm his
sure, man.
television champion, so owner of KWF slash FTW.
Hey, man, I want to take the opportunity to apologize to you for the delay in that short disruption, but welcome to
No
the show.
problem, no problem at all. Because I was messaging you saying, like, "Yo, I can't hear you." You was like on a little tangent. Like I didn't know if you was like, I was like, "What the heck is going on here?" I'm like, I know
Uh,
he started the stream, and then that I can't hear him out clearly. And next thing I know, I'm like, "Okay, what the heck is going on?"
and man's like, "What you doing, man? You giving them eight, nine
Like
minutes of
you
pressure?"
went 8 minutes straight. I'm like, it's like, are you giving them a speech
Gee,
or something, or is it just me? I'm like, or did you forget you had to start the show and you forgot to turn on the mic? I'm like, what the heck is going on here?
Jesus Christ, man! I forgot to turn off the mic, turn on the
I'm
mic.
like, you're kind of dragging the moment here. But it's all good. We in the clear. We all good and gravy, so we can get this thing on the road.
For sure, for sure, for sure, man. It's good to have you on the show. Nice to meet you, man. This first time you and I have met. This is DJ Chaotic meets Kevin Impact. Much love to
Yes,
you, man.
sir. I've heard many good things about you, man. I tuned into the live show when you was doing CJs, and boy, was
Oh yeah.
that an intriguing one.
I mean, CJ had to go off. You know, CJ longer than me. You know, he had to go off. He's very passionate
And
about what he believes.
when that man that man has a passion for this business that I've never seen before. He was the one that put me as a big break when he had the NWF days, and shout out to those people that know about the NWF days. But it was an interesting time. I had some of my calls on this show that I've created, and everything else was smooth sail from there.
All right.
But before those days, I was in a promotion called XCW. This
Well,
is before I can.
let's go step by step. Let's go step
Okay,
by step. We're going to go step by step and talk about your career, whatever you want to talk about. But we're going
no
to go
problem.
step by step so that everybody kind of becomes familiar and truly gets to know you. Okay.
Yep.
So so DJ Chaotic currently is wrestling for CJ Mondo's promotion, which is TNA.
Yes.
And TNA is Titan Nation
Titan
Alliance, I
Nation
believe.
Alliance. Yes,
Yeah,
that's
I had.
that's the promotion.
I'm glad I remember it off my mind. I'm like, I was gonna check. I'm
It
like,
was
I
like right at
remember.
the top, like
Yeah, I'm like, because I was gonna say, I
you was
thought it
about to
was
draw a
W.
blank there for a minute.
I was about to say Titan Wrestling. Like, no, ain't no W in there. It's Nation.
Because
Yeah,
it ain't the real deal kind of TNA. It's Titan Nation Alliance, not total nonstop action. Like you was gonna say the name of the actual company that's out in IRL, but
yeah.
it's literally has those letters, but just different name.
I just wanted to make sure that people understood what TNA stood for in CJ's world. You know what I
Gotcha,
mean?
gotcha,
But yeah,
gotcha.
definitely Titan Nation Alliance is where you are currently competing at, and we're gonna get to some more of that. But we're gonna rewind a little bit because this is the
Gotcha.
first time that you and I have met.
Yep.
Um, and this fan base, you know, what I mean, you've been wrestling all over. You have known you're a champion. You're good talent. But to the JTV wrestling fan base, you're an unknown. You're an unknown entity walking in, and there's that curiosity factor. Who is he?
Right, right, right.
What is he about? You know what I mean? And that's what we're here to dissect. So going back in time, DJ Chaotic. Everybody has an origin story. You had an origin story. Now, as I got to see your picture last night, you got to meet that boy right there. You know, so big props to you. Um, I could see that you may have been around for quite some time. So I can assume different things. I can assume you could have started at 64, PlayStation. I could say anything, but we'll get it right from you. Where did DJ Chaotic start?
Here's where I started from. I'll take you back to the old NES days of the game that we everybody knows as the first ever wrestling game, WrestleMania. We go
Jesus
back to
Christ.
WrestleMania on the NES. That's where I started to get into the wrestling games. And then it picked up from there, playing WrestleFest in the arcades. Everybody remembers WWF WrestleFest. If y'all don't, it's a very popular game.
Do your
And
research
then
if
it,
you don't.
and then it led into having WrestleMania 2000 to No Mercy to the SmackDown, just bring it, know your role, and then gradually increase to now.
Okay. Well, let's rewind one more time. You started out because DJ Chaotic didn't start out in WrestleMania because
Yeah, I'm just saying, like where I started
re-
playing the wrestling games is
right,
there, but
right.
where I actually started was WWE 2K22.
Okay, we'll come back to that. But with WrestleMania starting out, because
Yep.
WrestleMania was before CAW existed. WrestleMania was at a time when all you really had was just wrestling fans. You had wrestling
Yes.
fans. You know, we was on the way up. You know what I'm saying? We were young, and WrestleMania was a gift, just like a lot of those games that was coming out at the time. You didn't have CAW
Yep.
until the War Zone, and I think that WCW Mayhem was the first WCW game to feature create a wrestler. Is what it was back then. Now it's create a superstar or whatever, you know. So, so this is interesting because you said that you started out DJ Chaotic in 2K22.
Yes.
How is that possible when you had call going back way back into the
I'm
90s?
I'm gonna explain that to you.
Go right ahead.
Here's the thing. Because how I got into it was because I was on Twitter just stumbling through Twitter, as had 22, and then I came across a promotion on 22 where I seen a trailer. Now, short little trailer, don't get me wrong, nice, presentable, very, very well professional. But then I said to myself, I looked at the people in the trailer and I'm like, this is kind of what started the intrigue to get into the EFED business, get into the car community, start to see what my creativity would be by looking at some of these very well individuals that created their wrestlers and be inspired to create my own. That's what started the whole trend. Then that led me to a guy by the name of Miles Logan. Shout out to you, owner of ERPW. But
Mm.
before ERPW, there was a guy that was running the show called XCW. That's where I started my big break in 22. Then that led me to being a promoter or GM for the show I created on my own called XCW Mayhem.
Oh man.
Mayhem was my first major platform to say, let me see how I can run an EFED. Then I bought guys like Jay Williams. I bought guys like Crimson Beast. I brought people like Miles Logan. I brought people like Maggie Morgan. Then I created my own characters, which was me, DJ Chaotic. And this is where I started the name KWO, Chaotic World Order, before it
Mm.
transcended into the Chaotic Kingdom. Now,
There's
go for it.
Mike's all yours. No, no, Mike's all yours. If you're not done, I want
Before
to
it
hear.
started
I'm
into
listening.
before it started into the Chaotic Kingdom. And then when the Kingdom came into play, the Kingdom came into play around 2K24. Now,
Mm.
from that point on, we started elevating into a higher plateau, getting into companies like NWF, which was ran by CJ, getting into other platforms and areas. I can't remember the names of the other companies I'm in when I
Right.
got the KWO in there, but bear with me. But other than that, it
Yeah.
all was a huge skyrocket until I started taking a downhill spiral in a company that shall not remain nameless. We all know the company. We're not even going to go there with them. But they didn't utilize me enough to where I could see my potential skyrocket. I couldn't get titles over there. I couldn't get a major break if my life depended on it until I broke away just
And
recently.
XCW.
No, this was not XCW. On the other hand, what happened with there was the guy literally was doing some shady stuff behind my back, and I was a partner. I wanted to be involved with everything, try to get stole my creative ideas to the forefront of how everything was, and that relationship didn't go well for me.
Mm.
So it's like, you know how you got some shady, underhanded EFED owners who only want things done their way.
Of course.
It took my friend that I brought into FTW, Miles Logan. He was the one that broke me away from the environment of what XCW was. So that's why he said that, yo, like, do yourself a favor. If you're gonna build your own, build your own. I'll help you with the titles. I'll help you with crafting the arenas. All you got to do is bring the talent. So I already had talent lined up in that time. I had the family. Shout out to them. Huge in the EFED business. I had people like Miles and Maggie and his cause. I had mine. So it's like it was a nice slow trend process. But then once I got other people to see my vision and creativity, they started to follow.
I got a million questions. I just need to figure out what the hell I want to ask you.
Right?
Um, so which company did you say did you dirty again?
So the company that did me dirty, and we all know this company very well, O&W, which CJ knows all too well. Bunch of
ONW.
a bunch of individuals that only cared about their cause and their cause only. You can't sit here and say that, oh, if you're going to have an E-Fed, you're not going to utilize the talent that you brought in. You use your own talent to build your own bread.
Right,
That's almost like saying, okay, you come to JTV, I'm putting my cause ahead of everybody else's. No, 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 no. This is how we going to do this. Because
right,
in the long run, in this E-Fed business, your company is only as great as your superstar you bring in.
right,
So when that all happens, you have to say to yourself this: who's the real one to blame for not utilizing the talent and why he broke away from you, from the said company? Y'all didn't utilize me effectively. Y'all didn't utilize me enough to the point where I can show my creativity, my craft, my vision to your fan base. So that's what ultimately led me back to CJ.
and you believe that part of the reason they did that is because it was the whole politics game. They was trying to almost
They
like they
was
was trying to
using
hold you back.
yep, the politics game. They was trying to not let me grow. They was not trying to let me succeed. They was not trying to build me as the face of their company. And you notice 9 times out of 10, you notice a good superstar or wrestler when you see him perform on that grand stage.
Right,
There are people out there right now that I can say is skyrocketing themselves, men, women in in this car business that ultimately made an impact for themselves just off of one show, and now other shows are seeing them for what they are. You can't see somebody if you tune into a show if they're not being utilized effectively.
right.
So
And
in most cases, you have to adapt and build this call to being the superstar that he is. Not sit there and hold the talent back because of your personal game and you want to play politics, you want to play the backstage manipulation, you want to do the crooked thing of, oh, we're not going to utilize him if he's not active. But if I'm active and if I'm sharing your platform, you should be able to give me opportunities when I see fit.
I
I shouldn't
agree.
have to come to an owner to voice my opinion and my frustration because of X, Y, and Z that you're doing. It ain't that type of scenario, but you have some people that do that. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
But in most cases, you have to observe a talent from how they perform, how they hold themselves. Because in most cases, you may give a man a title, but guess what? It's what he does with the title. Are you going to be crooked? Are you not going to help other talent on the roster succeed? Are you not going to pretty much make the company feel good, or are you making yourself feel good just because you have a title on your hands? That ain't how it goes, because it goes back to that old school mentality in wrestling. You have to
right.
build the company. You have to see what talent is standing out in front of you as champion. You can't sit there and say, "Oh, X, Y, and Z over here has the gift, but let's see how if we could push him to that next level." This is how stories are built. This is how wrestlers get elevated. This is how you say, "Oh, shoot!" Like one of my favorite moments in wrestling, and I'll go back to this anytime because I'm doing the same storyline myself. Let's take the Francine Shane Douglas storyline. You remember the ECW days.
Absolutely.
Now, Shane Douglas wouldn't be Shane. Shane Douglas was Shane Douglas. He was the truth. He was the skyrocket of ECW. But
Without
the
question.
moment he adapted and got around Francine, that skyrocketed Shane Douglas up.
Right.
Now that's the kind of storyline I'm doing because I'm saying this to myself, okay, I have a card that I created called Rhea Blood Rose.
Mm.
He's the right hand to DJ Chaotic.
Mm.
Wherever you see DJ, you see Rhea. On
That's your
top of all
Francine.
this, that's my Francine. You
I got
don't
you.
see nothing else. But then I adapted it more to say, okay, here, me and my Francine have a little elevated twist to this.
Mm.
Francine is developing my other character called Alexa Death, aka her daughter, Alexa Bloodrose.
Mm.
And then I'm molding a guy by my side, kind of like how Shane Luders did. You got the four people. Like I'm molding my son, which is DJ Chaotic Jr. We're like he's like Bam Bam Bigelow and all of us together. So it's like you got to look at it from a standpoint of he's being creative at the same time, putting on a story that is captivating everybody and why everybody's flocking to the chaotic kingdom. There is that little twist of how can I elevate other people in the kingdom to be successful. This is why I'm branching out to certain creators who are struggling to make an impact to say, okay, here, I see something in this guy. I see something in this particular call that I want to bring into the kingdom. See if I can mold him to be something better. See if
Right.
I can elevate him to be at the highest level that he can be in this community. See if I can get eyes on him from other EFED owners to take him and say, okay, here, I got you the way you need to be. Go show that in these other EFEDs. I'm trying to share the wealth here. It ain't about, oh, just me as a talent. No, no, no. I'm trying to build and establish other creators that start in the EFED business or wanting to be in the car community to teach them that there are simple guidelines that we all can live off of.
I'd like to add something, and I appreciate you sharing all of that information. Now I understand that, you know, you're an ECW fan, much like me and CJ Mondo. You're also a big Shane Douglas franchise fan, you know, who is very underrated, along with Francine, who was underrated. There's a lot of people in ECW who's underrated, who
Mm-hmm.
just deserve better. But Vince McMahon just like I was probably about a month ago. I was looking into Francine, and there's things I knew, there's things I didn't know. I often wonder when she came back in '06 to work for Vince McMahon, what happened. And then, you know, you find things out and then you realize, you know, she was trying to get some work in, didn't really want to be Kelly Kelly. You know what I mean?
He
Vince McMahon
hear me out on
wanted,
this, and this is the thing that I say about Francine. Francine, when she was in ECW, they like Paul Heyman knew how to mold Francine into the product she was. And it was
right.
all it's not all about, oh, here, you got a woman who's coming in dressed sexy to the nines, was able to flaunt whatever she needed to flaunt just to get attraction, but also she was talented and she had gifted skills on the mic.
And she was
Unlike
edgy as shit.
how Vince used her, Vince wanted her just for eye candy alone.
Right.
That was the problem with that time frame in WWE. the eye candy. It was like you wasn't utilizing the women. It was all about the men. So it's like I say to myself this: why can't women have a platform to excel themselves in a way where they can be noticed as well?
Right.
Because without Stephanie McMahon, that platform wouldn't grow for him if Stephanie didn't do that.
You think
So
so?
I appreciate Steph for giving the women the opportunity that they had.
So you believe that Stephanie McMahon was responsible for that door opening for women to be able to step up to a higher pedestal in wrestling?
Exactly. And this is why I say that, okay? This is my theory. Everybody does have the same way of thinking, but this is my thing. It started with Steph because she was backstage making the moves. If it wasn't for her unveiling that first women's evolution pay-per-view, I feel like the women wouldn't have the platform that they have now. And literally, it started with that, and look at how it's skyrocketing. Look at how it's elevating. But unfortunately, you have some individuals who don't feel like the women deserve the platform that they deserve. But unfortunately, we are in the day where a lot of people don't see true potential unless it's right in front of them. You wouldn't
Uh,
know a dime from whatever. It's
this,
like,
this is something me and you could dissect because I have my reservations, and for everybody that's listening, they know I'm licking my lips right now with this particular topic. But yeah, I just want to say before we continue that, because I want to go to that, but I want to go to different things. I want to rewind real fast.
got
What
you,
I was
got
trying
you.
what I was trying to say before the Francine thing was, I like what you said about promoters, and it is true. There's a lot of e-fetters and a lot of, it's not just in call, it's in wrestling business in general that I mean, I guess I can understand certain areas of it, but as a business owner, if you own a real wrestling promotion in real life, you know, and if you're a CAW owner, your best interest at heart should be to try to get people over in your company and to try to have the open mind that, hey, if DJ Chaotic can get over, why should I stop him? You see what I'm saying? If he's
Hmm.
hot like that, you know what I'm saying? Let's work with him and let's give him his credit, his respect, and his due. You know what I'm saying? Just because you are the owner of whatever company and you don't like him, you have to put your differences aside. This is not about you. It's not about
It,
you.
it, it, it's almost like this, and I'm gonna say it like this, very strong and bold to a T. This is how I see it. If you are in the e-fed business and you seen and was valuing everything that you seen, treat your business like how IRL wrestling is. You don't, if you see talent in front of you, build them, mold them, teach them, bring them up to the success that they need to be. Because unfortunately, most of the talent that you may have on your roster may end up leaving. Somebody else may see a gold mine in the person that you had. One man or one woman is going to be somebody else's treasure, and they're going to treat that talent and bring them up. You don't see that in today's EFED because everybody is out for themselves. Everybody
Yeah,
is crooked. Everybody is manipulative. Everybody thinks that, oh, you just because you have a EFED business doesn't mean you put your cause on the forefront ahead of everybody else's. This
Right.
goes back to certain companies that I was in, made
Right.
it all about themselves, started being greedy, started being manipulative, started being power hungry, started abusing their power. You can't abuse power with a talent that's going to ultimately see them for who they really are.
Right. That's it's an interesting thing. We keep talking about that because it's very interesting because I agree with it. And my thing is just like as we're talking, like it should always be in your best interest to try to get your people over because it's not just a benefit for them, it's a benefit to you too when you get people over. My job as a promoter has always been number one, get people over as a top star. Number two, put your differences aside. I have people on my roster that have had differences with me. We didn't either try to kill each other, have personal problems, whatever the case is, and I still put that to the side if they're willing to work hard, prove themselves, and try to elevate. That type of shit is important. So I agree with you on that. Um,
And it's a fact that this is the thing. This is the thing. Not most EFED owners are going to, if you have a talent that comes in with you, and we say and we lay out a structure with this talent, we got to fall through with it. We can't just
yeah,
deviate from the narrative. And another thing that I can't stand with most of these EFEDs now, why don't you put up match cards to let your talent know when they're having matches? That is one
okay,
of the most craziest things I've ever seen. I come into an EFED and I don't know who I'm facing or who I'm battling.
okay, I got you on that. That's an interesting one. I don't think I've ever heard anyone bring up that issue with going to a place and they don't put the match card out. I think I, I
Like
think
that is,
I think I think it depends, but I mean I see it as positive to be transparent. So I agree with you.
yeah,
I agree.
yeah, because it's like crazy because the place that I left before going back to CJ, they was never putting up match cards. They was never letting me know if I had a match that night. Why you think I wasn't showing up to watch the show if I don't know if I don't have a match?
Right.
I mean, these are things you gotta let your talent know. And it's like it's essential to let your talent know that you have a match. Who am I going up against? Who do I have to promo? Who do I have to basically make myself elevated to let you see that I'm building, that I'm rising up to that next level? You can't see that if they don't know who they're facing. You can't see
Right.
that, or you don't ultimately know if this guy is going to be it if he doesn't know or he's blinded to the fact of who he's facing.
Okay, but let me ask you this though, because like I said, that's an interesting one that I've never heard anybody bring up before in call. When when you say let people know about their matches and stuff like that, and to be aware, to be prepared, to kind of plot, are you talking from a PvP standpoint, or are you talking from a simulated standpoint?
Like either, rather it's no matter if it's PvP or simulated standpoint,
Well,
as long as as long
to
as
me,
before, I'm putting it like this in my case. Okay, I don't know about
uh,
every other EFED on there, but this is my case right here. In the case before, like if I say this, if I say I'm gonna do a match lineup and I unveil it Saturday, everybody knows a day in advance before the show date, which is either a Monday or a Tuesday, whatever day you start the actual show. You got a couple of days notice to get a promo out to
okay,
let,
okay,
let to get that fire going in in a way where both talents are excelling themselves for the match.
okay.
You getting your
So
shots out there.
I think you kind of answered my next question. So when you let's go to a simulated situation. Let's take the PvP out of it. Simulated situation. If you are trying to prepare, let's say for me, my character is Kevin Impact,
Got you.
and and you find out from CJ Mondo, we're working for CJ Mondo and Titan Nation, and he's like, well, you're going to be working Kevin Impact at this show for the belt, TV belt. How would you prepare in not a PvP in a simulated environment? How would you prepare for me, knowing who you're going
Okay,
to wrestle?
now this is my thing.
All right.
How I would prepare for a match of this magnitude. Okay,
Uh,
for one, I understand in my situation, this is a well respected man. This is going to be a much must see match. This is going to be one of those matches where, okay, how can I elevate Kevin Impact as well as elevating myself in a way where we can gel as a cohesive unit in this match to where we feed off of one another. I can
right.
take your best, you can take my best. So it's like this is how I would have that little before the match come to you back to say, okay, let's see how we can work this in a way where we can show off both of our skill base, yet give an entertaining match to the fans. So that's how I would approach this because this is a legendary match that would be seen in front of the world. So you gotta prepare like it's a big match feel.
I understand what you're saying, but you're talking to me from sort of a promo standpoint, being able to have the opportunity to cut.
No, I mean
Uh,
it ain't just in promo standpoint. This is like when the match starts. I'm saying like this in retrospect. Okay, outside of promos, let's go out here and you can showcase your best moves. I can showcase my best moves, and we can feed off of one another and make this match a 5-star match.
but if it's in a simulated environment though, where you don't play the match, how do you get that feel? How
Like
are you able to do that? If
I wouldn't know how to judge that because I've never really I've seen simulated matches before, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like we wouldn't know how that would play into a scenario, if I could say,
yeah,
because in my opinion, I've only seen but so much in short time.
yeah, no,
But
I get that. I get what you're saying completely. And there's no right or wrong answer here on this show. I just
right,
asked because it's interesting. You know what I'm saying? What I'm listening as I'm listening to you talk, I'm picking out what I catch as interesting because I do agree with you that it's great to be transparent and to post match cards so people know what's coming. But if I was simulated in some e-fed, like that, knowing what match I'm in doesn't do anything for me if I'm not going to play that match. You know what I'm saying? So I can't get nothing out of that because CJ Mondo's going to like play as Kevin Impact. You see what I'm saying? But in
right.
terms
So
in terms of the promo thing, I'm with you because it's like, oh, so since I know that this match is going to be published, I don't know, next week in 2 weeks, I could talk shit this weekend live on Facebook or whatever.
right. It's
I
just
could
like
put my
you
promo.
don't know if you're gonna go live on Facebook.
Yeah,
You don't know if you're gonna
yeah.
go pop a shot over here on Twitter,
There
like
you go.
how most things are. You don't know if you're gonna go live on your YouTube to basically say, "Yo, let me throw this little promo out there to my opponent,
Yeah,
get him collab this promo with him, and just let him feed off of it."
absolutely. And I agree with that. And that makes sense to me being able to have that opportunity, that advantage. You know what I mean? From a PvP standpoint, I mean, shit, I can only imagine because, you know, a lot of guys, you take shot at each other, you talk some shit, and people can't wait to get in the ring with you if it's PvP.
And then on top of all that, you got to take this into consideration too.
uh,
That PvP factor, you got to say this to yourself because in most cases, promo can continue as the match is going on, you can have the smack talk going on in the process of this. And I'm like, this is also another good element of about the PvP aspect because there's trash talk that can happen. There is
Yeah.
literally endless possibility as to what can happen during a PvP match. And it literally brings out a good element to everybody. If I
I
could put
agree.
that out there.
No, yeah, you could say what you want to say, man. You know, like you're entitled to your opinion. Based off of everything that I heard, and as you were talking, I wrote down three different things. But I agree in that from the perspective of being able to have that advantage, if it's PvP or not. Yes, I agree with you. I mean, I agree with you with everything that you said. I think there's different situations, different reasons why things are done. You as a car promoter yourself, along with me, I think you have a understanding on how difficult it is to be able to manage a talent roster as opposed to competing on the talent roster. So I ask you at this time, we're talking from your professional wrestler perspective, but what about your office perspective as a promoter?
Nah,
What how difficult has it been for you transitioning into that and working with people? How hard is it to work with people to manage it?
here's my perspective on this, okay? And this is just me. I don't know how other promoters go with it, but I've noticed it's like this. For one, it's hard trying to get talent on the roster. For one, I mean, certain call creators, it's a difficult time to try to get them to be able to fit in to an EFED. But
Okay.
let alone also you got to know how to pick and choose the right car creator for the
Okay.
EFED.
Okay. Yeah,
The
I
only
agree with
reason
that.
why I'm saying that is this, because in most cases you don't know if this man is bringing a toxic cancer to your locker room. You don't know how this man is going to respond to others. You don't know when you bring this man into your locker room, how he's going to act, how he's going to perform, who he's going to pick at, who he's going to say. You get some people that come into your fed and be like, I need a title shot right now, this, that, and the third. I'm your top star, this, that, and the third. I'm like, but if you're really a top star, what have you done in the EFED community to prove it? Is the question. Because
Right.
in most cases, you have to really see you. I don't know this man from a can of paint, mind you. At the end of the day, you haven't done enough in this EFED community to prove or valid that you are the top dog of my show. When
Right.
I have 6, 7 other people over here that I brought in that's really known in the EFED business that'll sit there and be like, yo, why are you giving him the shot versus us? Then you got that debate where, okay, you prove a valid point as a pro in this business. But to a rook or to somebody just now starting in the business, you gotta ease them into the craft. You gotta get them around somebody that'll help them elevate. That's almost like saying, "Oh, I wouldn't have elevated me as a wrestler if I wasn't around names like CJ Mundo, if I wasn't around names like Jay Williams, if I wasn't around names like Crimson Beast, if I wasn't around respected individuals who taught me the business, who taught me how to be me, how to elevate my move sets at times to you got to stand out above the rest. Like you got to have an interest that's pops. Okay, mind you, these are all things in particular, but this is the way that promoters have to view and see you as a valid creator. This is how I'm looking at it as a standpoint of okay, I'm seeing Kevin Impact for the very first time wrestle. I gotta say to myself, yo, go back and look at other footage of Kevin Impact before you really ultimately go in and make this conversation with this creator to be a part of the show. You have to evaluate the tape. You have to study how he moves, how he operates, what he does to make himself stand out above everybody else. As a promoter, you have to go back and do your research on these guys before you go bringing them into your roster. Go talk to the other owners who had this creator. See what they say about him. Pick their brain about him. Otherwise, you don't know if you're getting the locker room cancer or if you're getting the top side.
And I agree, and it's very interesting. It's a lot of places that they don't even give a shit. They'll just try to bring in toxic people because they think it's going to get them views or whatever the reason, or they'll just keep their buddies like at the top, like, oh, everybody kissing my nuts are going to be the ones that's going to be, on top, when your job should be to try to work with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever wants to be the best, basically, like you're saying. Looking
You
into shit
have
is very,
to,
very important.
yeah,
I like
it's
how you
like you
think.
have to literally make that narrative. You have to be, as an owner, you got to have in the back of your mind to evaluate and observe. Go talk to other owners and see the landscape of what what this car creator brings to the table, because you don't know if he's a cancer, you don't know if he's been in trouble, you don't know if he's a toxic person, you don't know what he's been posting on social media, whatever the case may be. But these are the things you got to observe to bring talent in.
Absolutely. And I agree with what DJ Chaotic is saying there, but I'm going to flip it on y'all and I'm going to hit y'all with this too, because even though I do agree, I'm the type of person that I like to swim in the dark ocean, so to speak. I like to take a chance. Not always, but from time to time, I like to take a chance because it's interesting. I've heard my name thrown around time and time again, people taking shots at me, having an issue with me when they know they were wrong. But that's interesting to me because um, time and time again, with all these opportunities that have been given, uh, I always have taken the time, even with somebody coming to me and telling me, oh, CJ Mondo's this, CJ Mondo's that, DJ Chaotic is this, he's that. I don't just go, it's true because they told me. I get to know DJ Chaotic and I get to know CJ Mondo and I get to talk with them. And in time, I get to know who and what they really are. You know what I mean? And I'm the kind of person that, again, I agree with what you said. And that's the best way to do it. I recommend y'all doing it the way DJ Chaotic said. But for me, I like to try to get to know somebody and see how full of shit they really are. And when
And
I find out how
I
hold on,
wholeheartedly agree with what you're saying.
hold on, let me just add this. I take my chances, and then when I get to know somebody's full of shit, then that's just it. And the message I'm going to convey while agreeing with DJ Chaotic is that if you went in not knowing, like DJ Chaotic said, you should definitely try to do your research. And keyword is try, because none of us are perfect. You try. If you could try to know somebody, do it, like he said. But if you don't know somebody and you're bringing somebody into your promotion and putting them in the position of power, and you find out that they're walking cancer, my advice is this: once you get to know how full of shit they are, be done with them. Move on. Don't continue it. If it's really, really bad, just don't even try to even fix it. And individuals that want to try to follow them and say that they're your friend and stuff like that, knowing that they're shit, you break from that, man. You know what I'm saying? You block all these people, you get away from that. You don't need people like that in your life, you know? Positivity is what you try to look for in call. It's what we should all be looking for in call, you know. And some people have an issue doing that, detaching themselves not just from friends that are linked back to these people, but a friend that may have turned out to be like that, or not even a friend, somebody. Because a lot of these promotions, you as a promoter, DJ, we all know that not everybody on your talent roster is your friend. Some people are there for opportunity. You know what I mean? I
See,
understand that about my roster. That's why I always say, look, if
it,
you're only if you only here to be successful, I'm gonna pass you the mic right now, real quick. If you only here to be successful and you ain't trying to be my friend, don't tell me you love me and don't tell me that we're friends. Just keep it business. You know what I mean? What you
here's
got?
the thing. Here's my thing on that, right?
Uh,
Because this is my thing about it. You can be like the friendship kind of grows as you're elevating in the car community. Because here's my thing about this, right? Sometimes everybody, and real quote to this, is not your friends.
right.
Sometimes people see your company and say, "Oh, this is a rival. This is this. We don't
Yes.
need to see him grow." Like they abuse their power to the point where they try to take your talent and think that they can ultimately use them better than you can.
Right,
But
right,
there are
right, right.
some people that's in your company that'll be like, "Yo, I may
Uh-huh.
have a seat there under that says, yo, I got my loyalty over here.
Right,
You don't have my loyalty. You've been a snake since you've been over in said EFED, but yet ultimately you want to see yourself be the dominant force of the company. Sometimes I look at people and be like, say, yo, I don't go off a friendship basis. I basically be like, yo, if I'm gonna be an EFED promoter, I gotta look at this as a talent relationship. This ain't a friendship, but we I separate my friendship from the business. This is sometimes you got to have that narrative, but in the most cases in the business, you grow to be a much bigger entity. They'll look at you more like, oh, okay, we're in the business, but as a friend, how can I elevate and be the same way in the EFED business? And you kind of teach them the ropes, as you say.
right,
You got to build to grow because if you're treating this guy as a friend, he's going to abuse his power in the long run to ultimately get what he wants. Now,
yeah.
that's
Damn, man. That's deep. That's deep.
now that's how I've seen it
It's true.
happen in multiple e-feds
That's true.
where somebody will leech on to you just to get themselves over you.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying that because this is where we are in this current day of e-fed. People leech on to those to try to grow themselves over you. Now, I've had that happen. It's like, in case in point, back in the company before I joined CJ, they was leeching their power over me to try to ultimately think that they're better than me, but they just showed their true colors before my eyes because they was also trying to be the buddy buddy routine to me. Okay. Now
Mm.
we've all had that happen in our EFED careers. Somebody leads on to you, try to soak in all the knowledge from you, try to get the tools of the trade, but then ultimately cost you in the long run.
Right.
So it's like you have to see and observe. You got to be almost 5 steps ahead of everybody on your roster. You got to be more savvy than them, if we could put it that way. Because in most cases, you don't see a talent that is in the corner, hungry, wanting to be that next big Randy Orton or that next big Hulk Hogan or that next big Andre the Giant stature. But they're being humble about it. You got some humble, you got some not humble. But at the end of the day, those that are humble get further ahead, while the ones that's not humble sit there and be like, why am I not elevated? Why am I sitting in the mid card? Why am I going after these titles when I should be going after these titles? But you haven't earned the right to get an IC title. You haven't earned the right to get a United States Championship. You haven't earned the right to get a World Heavyweight Championship. You haven't earned the opportunity to be in the spot to get a Money in the Bank spot or a Royal Rumble spot because you ain't putting in the work to get seen and get heard.
So
Because
you
most people want to sit up here, cry, bitch, and moan about not being seen or not being heard. But guess what? Why are you sitting in the dark, not being quiet about it, but talking to your colleagues or your peers, but you're not coming to the owners and voicing your opinion on what you want to do? Why aren't you
right?
coming to them for storylines? Why aren't
I
you coming
agree.
to them to get elevated?
Yeah, I agree with that. Speak up. Yeah, I agree with that.
And it's
Mm-mm.
kind of that point right there. You can't voice your opinion to some owners because some owners don't want to sit here and say, "Oh, you're mid card. You ain't nothing. You're at the bottom of the fucking barrel. Like what am I? Fish food to your talent, or is the fact that you know for certain if you put me in these positions, I'm going to dog walk your talent left to right that you told
Right.
me. Like
And
let's use some common sense.
I could tell how much passion you have because I've seen CJ's passion and I've been seeing Enrique's, passion as I've been getting to know him a little bit more recently. And now seeing yours, I could tell because the way you speak in your mind. And it's always frustrating to see a good talent that speaks their mind and want to try to climb to the top get held back. That's one thing I hate about wrestling, in my
It's
opinion.
like a gold mine person when you see it. You see the hunger, you see the passion, you see the desire that this person may have, whether it be a male or whether it be a female. But at the end of the day, take the risk and use and see what you have in him. Because most cases, you don't see none of that in the car community. You only see people because unlike most e-feds, there are some e-feds I'll tell you right now. Why do you have your favoritism play a huge role in your e-fed? There should not be a thing called favoritism in an e-fed if you were not trying to utilize all the talent you have available. If you're
Yeah,
not utilizing all your resources.
agree. Completely agree.
Because this is what's wrong with the car community today. This is what's wrong with the e-fed world. You see all these shows. You can see your show. You can see CJ's show. You can see an Austin Raid show, or this over here, or this over here. You don't. All you see from these people are you see the positivity. You see them using their talent. You see them elevating a lot of people. You see them, in most cases, putting talent at the forefront. But then you go over here to these other e-feds and be like, yo, why do we see X, Y, and Z talent, about six, seven people, couple girls, couple guys, as or as the face every single day? Like
Yep.
you don't see no other talent being utilized.
Yep.
So it's
That's true.
like you got to ask yourself this question: what type of company are you running over here? If you're only putting six, seven guys on the forefront, and everybody else is just their play toy.
Yep.
Like, wonder why you have so many people as, oh, I was a 11-time champion in XYZ and this, that, and the third. Like, how could you be an 11-time champion if you never had competition stacked in front of
You better chill out, DJ. I'm trying to be professional right now, man.
you?
You
Hey,
taking
I'm
me
just
out of
keeping
check.
it 100.
Yo, chill out, man. Chill out, man. You need to chill out with that shit. He got me dying. It's true though. That's how you know how full of shit they are. Like an
Hey,
11-time champion. You gotta chill out.
hey, hey, hey.
11-time
This
champion.
is why CJ brought
I
me on
have.
because you already know I'm gonna keep it a well buck. I'm gonna keep it 100.
Oh man. Keep going. The mic's all yours, man. Hit him with
But
it.
it's almost like you have to really observe and see what you have. But if you didn't have a conversation and this was a new face coming to you, so it's like, yo, you got a new face being introduced into the eFed business, into this car community, into this world we live in. How do we elevate this person as the first thing that we see here? We got to say, oh, what name do you want to go by? That it always starts with the name. The name is what's going to attract people to you. That's almost like saying, okay, before DJ Chaotic was a thing, back in high school, everybody knew me by the nickname J Rock. And I was going to be like, yo, I was going to put J Rock as one of my I was using that at first when I started doing the creations back in SmackDown versus Raw 2007. But I was never really in a E-Fed business at that time. I never really knew about the E-Fed world, period. I mean, I'm just being honest here. But
Yeah.
where I started was it started around that 22 to 20 range when I started really looking into it in the Twitter stages. Started to see what people were standing out. Started to get my feet wet into this whole thing. But then it
Right.
started when I met Miles Logan. Miles was the first one that basically was a true friend to walk me into this business to say, here, you build them, I'll bring them on the show. Let's get you elevated into this whole thing. Cause I wouldn't have been elevated and etched into this if Miles didn't put his best foot forward for me. That's where you know a real eFed owner if you see them when they put their best foot forward to put you as the focal point.
And you met him in 2K22
And I met him
before.
in 22.
Okay. All right. Let
And
me
that's when he
rewind.
came. Like I met him in 22 because he basically, I talked to him when I was running my XCW Mayhem show.
Okay, but before we go back to him, because this is interesting to me. Before 2K22, I mean, you had a shit ton arsenal of eras that hit us. 2Ks and SVRs and SmackDown 1 and 2 and No Mercy this and
Yeah.
WCW Mayhem that and even Backstage Assault, as bad as that game was. So I'm wondering, DJ Chaotic never made a presence during none of that era?
At that time, DJ Chaotic was never really a full blown thing until
He didn't exist.
I didn't even have the name DJ Chaotic back at that moment because I was still trying to find my niche. Okay.
Oh,
And if anybody in the car community knows, you have to find your niche before you really present yourself in front of owners. Finding your
most
niche is basically that.
most of the time it's beneficial. Most of the time
Most of the
to
time, finding your
find yourself.
niche,
It's better. It's better when you find yourself.
like this is
I,
where, like I
I
had to
think
find what my true self was. This is where I said I was in the lab before 22. I was always in the lab trying to find the perfect balance of moves, trying to find the right piece right, trying to find the right entrance, trying to find the right victory, trying to get the best setup that I can before I present my team or said faction to an EFED show. But
Yeah.
then this is why I kind of stayed. I kind of said to myself, get in the lab, work on the craft, try to find your niche on what you want your character to be. Find the perfect name that fits and bring that to the forefront. Because the name is only as good as the character you make.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I just think that if you haven't found your niche and you're coming into wrestling, it should be with a promoter you could really trust, not someone that's going to take you in and green bar you as far as manipulating you goes, and just trying to make you into uh, an enhancement talent, and just have you
Hmm.
just fall into everybody, losing to everybody, like you everybody's bitch. Like you're there to
Exactly. Like
be
you're the
successful.
punching bag to everybody on the roster.
All right, let me go back with you because you mentioned niche a few times, and I'm wondering. I keep rewinding because I love origin stories. How did you get into being a wrestling fan?
Here's how I got into being a wrestling fan. I was maybe a young guy, a young kid in into wrestling, but the first ever major pay per view that I saw, and this is where everybody probably got their first real big moment of wrestling. I'll take you back to WrestleMania 3, Hogan
No way.
versus Andre the Giant. That's where I got my wrestling started at. WrestleMania 3.
This is very interesting because we're not going to get a lot of these. You know what I'm saying? I'll get a, well, yeah, I was really inspired by the hurricane or some shit or some lame shit. This man said WrestleMania 3. We're talking about Hogan and Andre. What was it? The Silver Dome?
Yep.
When what was it about that match that inspired you, that made you go, I love professional wrestling? What hit you?
This is the whole thing. It was like everything that that started in that pay per view. Almost most of the rivalries that was in that exact pay per view, outside of Hogan and Andre the Giant, seeing the passion, seeing the moves, seeing the atmosphere of the crowd, kind of elevated me into that wrestling stratosphere. Ever since WrestleMania 3, started watching Saturday night main events, the Saturday morning lineup of cartoons that led you into the Saturday WWE show. Everything about it kind of ultimately led to me kind of seeing the moves, seeing what I like, seeing what that's what kind of made me be in the lab on WWE games to find that right balance of moves that fits a certain wrestler that elevates him to that next level.
All right, well let me call your little jabroni ass out on something real quick because you have my interest. Now, with all the respect to you, because it seems to me like you're even before my time. I'm more of a attitude era kid. But Mr. Golden Era, um, back in the golden era of the WWF, Hogan, Warrior, Andre, Jake the Snake Roberts, Jimmy Superfly Snooker. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Hold
Ted
on,
DiBiase.
before you even go even further, there is a picture that I'm gonna show you after this whole thing is all said and done.
I got you,
And I
man.
remember this like it was yesterday. My first ever wrestling picture, and I'm gonna tell you this right now.
Oh shit, here we go.
Just so happened I was at a Buffalo Wild Wings, okay? Watching the WrestleMania event with my dad. So
What
I
year?
go outside to go have a cigarette break. It was during the commercial and all that, right? Come to find out, somebody taps my shoulder. It's none other
Mm.
than Superfly Jimmy Snooker. He
Oh
says, "Can I
shit.
get a light, brother?" I gradually
Mm-mm.
take my lighter, light a cigarette.
Yeah.
We just chopping it up, talking about wrestling. I talk about my favorite moment of his, and then 2 seconds later, I'm getting a picture with him with his sign.
Yeah.
So
What
I'm
year
like
was that?
that,
You
and
said it
I
was one
think
of the
that was around
WrestleMania.
2007 or 2008.
Oh,
I met
okay.
Superfly Jimmy Snooker,
Okay.
and then like after that moment, like I was like, "Yo, for me to meet my first ever wrestler, and that was like a huge moment." Then I went back inside. I'm like, "Dad, go outside. Superfly's outside." He was like, "Give me the camera."
Mm. That's dope.
So it's like meeting Superfly Jimmy Snooker for the very first time was like I was like a kid in a candy store, getting to chop it up with one of my idols that I respected in the business. It was like those are like cherishing moments everybody has when you're a kid.
Well, let me ask you this, and excuse me for asking you this if you find it to be what's the word a little uncomfortable. But this is just that show. You know what I mean? So Jimmy Superfly Snooker, I still respect because we talked about respect. I still respect Jimmy Superfly Snooker today for his legacy. He's one of my favorites for sure. And one of my inspiration. I don't want to say when I say inspiration, I don't mean like he's my big hero and all that other stuff. I'm saying that he's one of the guys who inspired me as I was looking for my character, Kevin Impact. Whatever. Things happen.
I,
You know what I
I'm gonna
mean?
tell you the
Yeah.
foundation of what built DJ Chaotic and my inspirations
Hold
as
on, because I'm about to ask you about that. I'm about to ask you about that. I want to talk about that foundation, but I want to ask you this quick question.
okay.
Uh, what is your take on what happened with him and his accusation of him murdering his wife, and did
Like
that
I don't know
impact?
the whole story
Uh huh.
behind that. Don't get me wrong. I
Yeah.
really followed the whole storyline behind that outlet, but I'm just sitting up here saying to myself, because it had never really hit me back in the day, like the real first major story. And I'm gonna just say this so I can get the record straight out there. The first
Yeah.
major thing that hit me like a ton of bricks was the Owen Hart death at the event.
Right.
Like that
Over the
and the
edge.
fact of Chris Benoit doing what he did, but we ain't gonna
Yeah.
go into Benoit because we already know he kind of had his twisted ways and all that, but we ain't gonna go there with that. This is
Right.
positive, so I'm just gonna keep it a buck.
I mean, you can. Chris Benoit's not banned from this channel. I ain't TKO. You know what I mean?
Fact. Hey,
I
I
got my.
understand, but I'm just
We,
like this.
we,
It's like
we can
because
talk
I
about
said
whatever
this to
we want. This
myself.
is our channel. You know what I mean? We talk about whatever we want. This is our
But
channel.
here's my thing about this part. It's like looking at what Chris Benoit did, even though it is dead ass wrong
Yeah.
that he did to his son and he did that to his wife, but
If it's true.
ultimately
If it's
there
true that
was
he did it.
no reason that he should have done that if
Yeah.
he wasn't jacked up on steroids. That and I'll say it exactly like it is because that played a major role in that era. steroids was literally used by multiple wrestlers, but you didn't know it. You could tell how jacked they are. Like it's no apparent thing, but that's what it is.
Yeah, I don't know all.
But I don't know the full stories of everybody, but I just
Right,
know that certain incidences that took place literally was very sad for a lot of individuals, but also it was like it didn't hit as many sources that it should have hit because multiple states probably never talked about it. Okay, let's just put it in perspective here.
right.
But that's where everything is. The media controls the media outlets don't give you every little bit in detail. You have to go look it up yourself.
All right, all right. So, even with the accusation of what happened with the wife murdering of Jimmy Snuka, it doesn't change how you feel about him as a fan. You still look at him positive.
Yeah, it's like it didn't change my narrative of him as a fan because I looked at him and that's what inspired DJ Chaotic with certain moves that I like of his kind of got implemented into him.
Okay, so there's a little bit of Jimmy Snuka in you.
A little bit of snooker,
Mm,
most like sometimes like most of my move sets in certain games I've had kind of was inspired by the human suplex machine Taz,
I can see that.
Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig,
All right, let me pause
Shawn
you again.
Michaels.
Let me pause you again. So let me ask you this, because we getting a little gangster here now. Because I'm thinking of DJ Khaled, the character, and I'm about to talk about him. But I have to ask you, where you from, man?
Buffalo, New York.
You from New York? My man.
Yes.
New York, New
Not the
York, man.
city area. I'm in upstate New York.
Nah, nah, we don't
Buffalo.
got we don't have to say all that out here.
Right,
You
right,
know,
right, 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 right.
just, just a state, just a state.
Yeah,
He,
I'm
he
in New
he a New
York.
Yorker. That's it. He a New Yorker, and we both New Yorkers, man. I knew I was sensing something, but I was built in towards this shit. I'm like, hold up, man, because at first I went slow. I'm like, nah, he's probably from Cleveland or some shit. Then I started thinking, nah, he's from like Alabama. I'm like, yo, his tone. I'm gonna have to ask him as soon as you said Taz, because ever since before we met, I was getting New Jack vibes before I came to talk with you. Because New Jack is
Oh
one of my
wow.
favorites. You know what I mean? So I'm
Right.
like, I'm gonna let you say. I'm gonna let you say, but I'm just gonna say that. Um, so I was thinking about New Jack, and I'm looking at him like, hold up, man. He's gangster. He's chaotic. He's like extreme. And then you bring up Taz. So you messing with my head. You really, really messing with my head. But um, I wanted to ask you because the reason I was asking you about the snooker thing and asking you about Hogan and Andre WrestleMania 3 is because at that time there was no ECW, there was none of this extreme shit going on.
Right. It was just flat
So
out.
so so I'm wondering, uh how did DJ Chaotic come about?
Here's the thing. DJ Chaotic came about because I was watching eras of wrestling. I'm not just saying we we don't go back to like that start of WWE or where WCW started or all these other companies coming into play. This is an extensive look at certain in particular wrestlers that I've studied throughout my time watching wrestling. I mean, we talk about the Coco Bewares, the Junkyard Dogs, the Sid Vicious. I mean, or should I say Psycho Sid, going
Yeah.
into the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase's little arsenal of moves, to the tag team division, the Hardys, the Dudleys, Edge and Christian.
Mm.
to like literally New Jack and and the guy that he was the tag team with in ECW, looking at Rob Van Dam, looking at Taboo, looking at Tommy Dreamer. These names kind of all had moves that I implemented in certain games, and I just kind of took them and said, "Yo, let's see if I can craft a wrestler with an arsenal of these moves." And then kind of said, "Okay, let me splash in a little bit of Sean over here. Let me splash in a little bit of Terry Funk in the mix. Let me splash in a little bit of this wrestler over here. When I build the girl, let me splash in these couple of ladies over here, like a Lita or Trish Stratus or a Jazz or a China. Let me see if I can throw in a little bit of uh Mickey James in the mix. Like these are how I build my wrestlers. Everything plays into what I've seen in IRL and the moveset that works. This is how I built my cause in general for shows. Now, as far as the tire goes, that's based on what I've seen each wrestler I've witnessed wrestling. There are certain tire pieces that I'll use to kind of say, yo, do I want the street vibe or do I want to go with a nice traditional style wrestler in general? It all depends on how your creativity is.
Well, what I could say is you more than answer my question. That answers my question. That's a great response, and I'm glad it wasn't basic. This man is full of knowledge. You kind of remind me of Chris Third Eye, by the way. That's another guy you got to meet at some point. Stay tuned if you don't know him. But since you answered my question, I got another one. Now, with that being said, now getting that background to DJ Chaotic, and it explains completely, his answer explains completely what I asked, which identifies the chaos inside of this character because he's had a touch of not just ECW, but he's been around Hardy Boys in that '80s era, the '90s era, Terry Funk, and all this stuff. He know who Shane Douglas is. He's giving you names from left to right, so he's not just like he's not saying shit to be cool. You could tell he knows his shit. So that background, I see DJ Chaotic. I see how you made him with all those ingredients you mentioned. I can see how you made that. But what about the name? How did you get the name DJ Chaotic?
It's crazy that you bring that up, okay? Because in my way of that I crafted that name, I was in a group with a bunch of friends of mine. This is around a good back a while ago. So I got a channel on YouTube, my DJ Chaotic 2K or my Chaotic Productions channel. I did music with a couple friends of mine in my hometown where they kind of said, "Yo, we want you to be the host of our tracks. Like, try to come up with a name." So literally, I was sitting in the lab as I'm working on tracks, and I'm like, "Let me see. DJ J Rock won't work. Like, no, 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 no. That ain't going to cut it." Then at first, I had the name DJ J Reezy, which I was using at first on the projects that I had at first. But then when I came into my own niche and the group kind of broke up, that's when I said, "Yo, it's time for DJ J Reezy to evolve. Maybe I should evolve the name into DJ Chaotic to basically set myself up for not only being a music DJ host for music, but also take this name to a bigger plateau. Like, say, for example, when I start in the EFED business or when I start creating my wrestler. And when I first did my first wrestler in 22, boom, stuck.
Mm. That's how it happened to me.
Like it stuck right there because of
You
how I
you just
was.
knew. You just knew. You could tell. Like
Because
that's
I
it.
kind of said to myself how I was building my wrestlers and how I was looking at the attire. Because there was a guy that's on the game right now, Scorpion Gaming, who I follow on Twitter. He was the one that showed me he built all the hip hop stars. So that's what kind of I was looking at his creations and saying to myself, yo, maybe when I start doing the pictures, use these attires to showcase DJ Chaotic as this big time DJ slash wrestler to ultimately elevate his craft more.
Hmm. You got a lot of deep thought in you, DJ. That's for damn sure. It
It's
ain't.
like
It ain't
when
too. It ain't too often we get guests like this, folks. Go ahead, DJ.
and it's
What you got?
like and I say to myself this because when I get into the lab and start to create my calls or whatever, I kind of think like how can I set my calls to be stand out, be different from what everybody else is using. Then like another friend of mine, shout out to Deadpool, a friend of mine, he basically got me into creating my own logos. So I started that outlook and it went from there. Like the logos and like this picture that you see now with with what you made me take on the game, I crafted this whole picture for my profile pic on Facebook. So it's kind of like I have like real creative sparks when I do, but sometimes that creative spark leads me into much of a bigger platform. And
Yeah,
I
man.
use that creativity to help others.
You got a deep mind. You got a deep mind, and I have to ask. You currently are running KWF and XCW, right?
Yes.
I have a question, but I'm not gonna ask it right now. I'm gonna probably save it for later about that. We're gonna come back to that. But what we're gonna do
Okay.
right now, we're gonna take the time to answer a few questions that have been popping up on the screen here. You've been having a lot of your folks in the comment section supporting you, showing you love from left to right. Same to us. We appreciate it. It's positive and great that we could come together like this. But
Yep.
first question here, racing underscore Uzumaki 95. These are one of your people. At JTV
Right.
Wrestling, ask DJ Chaotic how it is to work with Ace, Austin Ace, and Carter from TNA.
It's crazy that you bring that up because Austin, I kind of met him through a different the company that we left, and ever since I met Austin, I'm like, yo, how can I elevate him? How can I make him feel like he's important into this community that we're in? Because if nobody doesn't uplift, what is the point of being around said people if you're not uplifting another person? So I kind of basically said, like, yo, we started to basically be in a bigger, more important role once we left said company. And I said, yo, you know what? Never had a match with him, never really elevated a person like of this measure. But I said to myself, yo, Austin H. Carter is a cool guy. He's one of those people that you got to say to yourself, you got to elevate those in front of you before you can elevate yourself in a way that nobody has. Because if you want people to see talent, you got to put talent over. to be seen. And
I
if
agree.
owners see that point of view, you got your foot in the door.
Right. Well, there's your question, but let's go on to the next one. So, gaming with CJ underscore 44 asks, who's your favorite ECW wrestler?
Funny. This is going to be a very interesting thing here. I have a lot of them,
That's a
but it was
stressful
always
question.
one that stood out like a sore thumb.
Mm.
And before Shane Douglas, I was always hooked to Taz. Taz basically was that one individual that made DJ Chaotic the person
Mm.
I wanted him to be in the EFED industry. A tough,
The,
badass SOB.
the human suplex machine.
That's what I molded DJ Chaotic to be. Similar to Taz. A badass wrestler with killer moves that'll ultimately break people's necks, if you will.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a great response. You know what I mean? Taz is another one. You don't get a lot of that these days. You know what I mean?
Like,
But Taz
like
is
hell,
good. Taz is a good one.
you gotta ask yourself this question: who would have the title FTW laying around laying across his shoulder, saying "fuck the world" in wrestling? Like Taz was the main one that made
That's the
me say
guy.
to myself,
Yeah.
"Here, this is how you get a badass persona in wrestling and move in."
Great character. Underrated is the character. Very underrated.
Nobody gives Taz the respect he deserves, but it's like now he's starting to get that recognition because of the commentary and other things he's doing.
Yeah. I mean, he found a way to still be relevant and to still be around without time forgetting him. So it's worked out well for him, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a great character to take from, to be inspired by, for him to be your guy in ECW. I mean, that's fair. You know what I'm saying? That's your thing. He got another one
Yeah.
for you. CJ asks, DJ Chaotic, what do you think about being Titan Nation Alliance television champion? Tell us about that. You've got the belt. What about it?
See, I said to myself this. It feels good that somebody finally takes you and notices you for what you stood for in the business. You
Right.
don't build champions by just handing them this and this or whatever the case may be. Me holding the TV championship kind of ultimately said to myself, I have my foot in the door and I'm going to build others because of this belt. I'm not using the belt for my own leverage. I'm using this to kind of build a platform, to kind of mold the people in TNA that's coming in to say, yo, y'all may not be where y'all at right now, but I'm going to mold you and guide you into a way where you can see some sort of success. You can see some sort of prosperity on the other side. You don't have to sit there holding your head down because, oh, you're not a champion. Nah. Sometimes it takes a champion to mold that person to the place that he needs to be. Sometimes you got to go talk to these people and be like, I see where you was. You're in my shoes back when I started in this. But in most cases, you got to put that person ahead of your own pride and greed.
Right.
That's what it is when I have this championship.
Excellent response. I mean, they keep it coming. Before we keep it coming, because CJ got some more, I just want to take a quick moment to shout out CJ Mondo because if I'm not mistaken, DJ, you a black man, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me say this. CJ Mondo, as far as I know, is a white man. And CJ Mondo showed you mad love. He showed you
And
mad love. He told me you his boy. So
and
he made,
here's and,
you know
and
what I'm
here
saying?
and here and while we're on that subject, this is the thing I'm gonna say right now. I ain't never been in a position in the e-fed industry. I mean, outside of most places that's using me and all that, right? But here's my thing about this.
Uh,
When I first met CJ in the way that in the e-fed business, I met him and I was like, yo, you know what? It's I gotta pick some things off. Like, what do I need to do to build? What do I need to do to craft this and do all that stuff over here? But it was like this. It comes
mm,
down to this. When I picked TJ's brain, it felt like he kept it in a way where I'm just soaking it in. I'm taking it all in. But then once he did what he did with the NWF days, I said to myself this. Even though DJ Chaotic wasn't really a major focal point at that time, I was scratching the claw in my way in his former company that he ran. But I bring those days up for this reason. He took my female character before I named her Rhea Blood Rose, which was Heaven of Love, and he made her a predominant figure in his company, which I was kind of shocked at every show that he did because it was a different kind of vibe, a different kind of flow, and a different kind of element that no other EFED was putting in perspective. Where
right.
he had kind of a real grapple based style setting in his EFED that no other EFED was using. And I was just looking at this and I was kind of studying, looking at the matches, looking at how things was done. And I'm like, you know something? I figured it out right there that CJ kind of was showing me the ropes as I was going in. He was kind of molding me to that person that I needed to be because most companies didn't see the vision that he saw with me. And I thank him for that because without him seeing that vision in me, you wouldn't see the person you see right now.
Mm, that's deep. You probably got him all choked up if he just heard everything you said. That was real nice of you. That was deep. That was a really emotional thing, deep thing. But man, he's been looking out. I've noticed. I've seen him looking out for a couple of people, and the fact that he doesn't care what color you are, whatever. Mad love to CJ Mondo, big time love. And he got another question that I don't want to lose. I'm gonna run it back to you right now, and I'm gonna pass the mic back to DJ Chaotic. CJ Mondo asks, "What does DJ Chaotic think about Ray? Ray, as in I think the MPW owner Ray, Kevin Impact, and CJ Mondo. What do you think about him, me, and Ray?"
Here's my thing. When I first met the Ray and you, I was like, yo, you know something? These dudes are cool individuals. These dudes are like, I can see why he has so much value and honor with you guys because of the
Mm,
chemistry that y'all have had and the relationship y'all share about IRL wrestling as a whole. Because this is my thing about it. I wouldn't have met none of these guys. I would have been on on back end if CJ didn't put these people in place for me to ultimately be sitting here today with you saying, yo, maybe there is a place for me in this e-fed business after all, because there are people that's willing to care and open up their doors to let you tell their story, see how you feel, pick your brain about certain things, see how you want to grow your company and all this, that, and the third. But ultimately, it starts with somebody seeing your vision. If they didn't see your vision, what is the point? What is their time? Their time is going to be wasted because they didn't see your vision, or they didn't see what type of element you was bringing to the table.
Right.
So
I
there,
appreciate.
that ultimately tells you everything you need to know when you get connections like this. Take them as a sign of, this is a way of growing. This is a way of elevating. This is a way of seeing your growth as an eFed owner, to see that they see you as a viable piece in this community, to be positive, to be momentum, to have a successful drive, and we can have our talent be your talent be my talent, so on and so forth. Hey, it sky's the limit when it comes down to those moves.
I agree. You don't get a lot of it. It's hard to find a lot of positivity in call, man, because everybody's got a fucking ego, a chip over their shoulder, whatnot, or they want to
That
play
is the
favor.
worst thing you can never have. You can never bring your ego into a car community or e-fed business, because your ego kills a lot of momentum. It kills a lot of drive. You wonder why your channel can't succeed, because your ego gets in the way of what makes your company feel important. And that's one thing I'll say to a lot of upcoming e-fed owners: don't let your ego get in the way of what you're trying to build, because your ego is only going to carry you but so far. It's your talent that's going to see that ego and ultimately leave, because guess what? You don't know how to treat or respect the people that you bringing in your company. If you treat people like shit, you're not going to have a company at all.
Yeah, you're gonna have to come back for a part two, man. You out here killing shit. That look, you melted the shit out this mic. Let me get this mic here. Take this one. Give me that one. Look, you melted the shit out of it. Jesus Christ. The hell's wrong with this man? Y'all, yo, Mondo, man. Why you send lava over here, man? This man sent me lava in the bottle. It's just melting through. But all right, let's keep on having fun.
Right.
So here's another question from VIP. What do you think about what does DJ think about VIP? Do you know who VIP is?
I haven't heard of VIP. Don't get me
Oh
wrong.
no, I don't matter. He sucks anyway. Moving on to the next question. Uh so one of my girls, let's say this because he's still becoming familiar with the JTV. You know, he didn't really know about us, so let's just be fair to each other. We didn't know about him, he didn't know about us. We're meeting for the first time. You got to give DJ an opportunity to really get to know the product a little bit first before he can answer some of those questions. So to VIP and
Or
Amber Rock,
look, and I'll be honest with everybody right now. These two questions that just came up, okay? I
uh,
will gladly answer this when I start seeing the product more of JTV, watch, study, all that good stuff, and I will come back to y'all with an open and honest answer for y'all.
there
That's
you
what I'm
go.
gonna say from there.
There you go. Amazing response. There you go. There you go. You know, you give him some time. I'm gonna invite him back for a part two and a part three and maybe a part four, and then maybe after that I'll stop because that's too many sequels. But you know, we got we got that out of the way. We turn to Colin Klein. Colin Klein asks, which talent in JTV, TNA, FN is your favorite? Is there any?
I'm gonna put it like this. Even though I haven't really seen much of the products of everybody in these companies, So I
Uh,
can't really give an honest answer just right now. It's
yeah.
because I'm still getting familiar with everybody in these companies. I'm still getting familiar with the names. I'm still getting acclimated to the product of these three companies. But also, I'll say this: on the flip side to this, I will give my honest assessment because in most cases, once I start seeing y'all and start to know y'all, the more I'll build and say to myself, yo, this is the talent I may need on my roster.
Hmm. But we got the opportunity to run it back once he's able to get some more. But that's going to be it for now in terms of that. Let's see what else y'all got. Here's another one for you from what is this? Nutty Yo Gaming. 8092 asks, what is your favorite match from Taz?
Funny thing that you mentioned that. I'll take you back to one of my favorite moments of it. The infamous match he had with Sabu. Legendary barn burner. It was a all out brawl between these two. And I think that was like one of my favorite matches from Taz. And the promo game between him and Sabu was just extraordinary in that way.
Yeah, they didn't even have to say nothing. All they had to
You
do
ain't
was
have to
just
say nothing. The
stand there.
chemistry was there.
That's it. That's it. Everything was there. The aura, whatever you want to call it. All they had to do was look at each other. Not every wrestler has to talk, and in my opinion, that's how you use Nakamura. Nakamura don't got to be talking all the time. You know what I mean? So Taz and Sabu, amazing chemistry. I agree. I agree with that for sure. If y'all got any more questions, keep popping them up. I got two more questions that I'm gonna have DJ have the opportunity to answer, and then we're gonna move on. All right. So um going to the next question. I think this is a question from Ryan Storm. Well, DJ, what do you think of to work with a star like Ryan Storm? So he's asking about himself. What do you make
So
of working with
Ryan, I'm gonna be dead honest with you, my guy.
him?
You you have a very big aura when it comes down to these matches that we've had, and I mean, not to mention, it's like kind of like you don't know the chemistry is there, but ultimately you kind of find that niche somewhere where the chemistry actually shows up unannounced, like it's just given to you. That's what I see him with Ryan Storm. And it's like I had the opportunity to get the TV title from him, and big shout out to him for giving me the opportunity to get it. But on top of all that, it was like the way that we locked in was kind of like, okay, this is setting something in stone. This is setting something where it's going to build to something more better than the first one, because we may not have opportunities for matches like this or throwing fire promos back and forth, but when it happens, it's a natural thing.
Does that answer your question, Ryan? If you got any more, let us know. All right. CJ has another one. CJ asks, what is your favorite era of professional wrestling? Golden, attitude, ruthless aggression, etc. What do you got?
Like I'm not even gonna hold you, because my favorite era is the Attitude Era. All the
Mm-mm-mm.
moments that happened in the Attitude Era, it was like the
Mm-mm-mm.
Generation X, the Hardys, the Hardys, Edge and Christian. literally all Lita and all those her moments, Trish Stratus and all her moments. It's like everything kind of culminated right in the Attitude Era.
I agree. As overrated as some people want to call it, but I disagree with that. You know,
It was one of like the go. It was like the best time to be a wrestling fan was around the Attitude Era. We used to do things in school that teachers would suspend us for.
right? Attitude Era had a major impact on pop culture, and if you're a wrestling fan, it is to be studied, it is to be acknowledged, it is to be respected because the Attitude Era is what wrestling is. It's just that now you're just seeing a parody. You're just seeing something that used
It's
to be.
like, and this is my thing about the Attitude Era that today's standard didn't have. The storylines that we've gotten in the Attitude Era was valued more than what you had now because you didn't you when champions was crowned, champions never backed down from anything. Champions stood to the occasion. You
They,
didn't
def- they
go
definitely
chicken
were.
shit like everybody else is in today's standard.
They definitely weren't off TV for a couple of months. That's for sure, or part time.
Right.
That's for sure.
If you're a champion, you're gonna stand the test and basically be at the show to prove that you deserve to be a champion.
Right. I mean, not to argue too much with the idea of protecting your champion and having them go on vacation and stuff like that if you're a company, but I mean, it's not a very good look when you're trying to make an example and you're the world heavyweight champion. It just doesn't
It's
look good
almost
in
like I'll say this for example. It's like I look at how many days that Roman Reigns held the championship, and I'm not trying to knock it or degrade it or anything like that. I'm just proving a point here. Roman Reigns holding the title that many days. Think about the man that was the biggest holder of that championship, but he stood the test of time to defend it every chance he got through injuries, through whatever setback he had. He came out there and proved he was the champion for that many days. He didn't take days off like most people do. So it's like, this is how you know you're real when you can defend your championship efficiently and be at the show. You don't run from nobody.
man. I'm gonna agree with you once again. That's the type of champion, a fighting champion who's working everybody. Like Bret Hart when he was champion and he's fighting everybody from every division. Yokozuna, 400 pounds. Andre the Giant or some shit. Or somebody that's 7 feet
Or a
tall.
small little cruiserweight like 1, 2, 3 kid or somebody like that. And he would take on any weight class and still
Yeah,
prove that he was dominant.
yeah. And with that, a strong world champion being someone that's going to work for everybody. Your DJ Chaotic, but Impact is there, and CJ Mondo is there. All these guys are there, and you're going to work with all of us because it's good for the company, good for the business, and it's good for the division, for the championship. It makes
Mm-hmm.
it's really become comedy. I mean, I don't know if we have enough time to even get into this topic because this is just the touchiest topic of them all is the
Right,
current
right.
the current state of wrestling, but I don't shy away from what I really think, DJ. Okay. I understand that people have opinions and thoughts and whatever you want to call it, but listen, man, that there's definitely a lot that's wrong with wrestling right now. A lot. It's not great.
Exactly. And
And
it
that's
kind of, and it all goes as following with this. It's like if you're a promoter, you should know the talent that want to be skyrocketed, and you should know who to use and who not to use. At the
Right.
end of the day, you know your talent better than anybody else. So in most cases, you got to see and figure out a way to put that talent over, not putting them in like a mid card situation, but make sure you elevate them over the mid card situation.
Well, let me ask you about this. Let me ask you about this. In the JTV chat right now, there's an ongoing topic going on that they talking about. Let's ask you about it. Let's ask you about Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder, I don't watch TKO's version of WWE, but I saw the clip that he came back on SmackDown last night. I'm happy about it. I think it's a fantastic thing. It's an amazing thing, even though he was talking some bullshit saying he'll never go back and whatnot, which we know how business works. I'm not going to use it against him that he said that and now he's back with them. But I'm understanding that they didn't sign him or they got a merch deal going on. And I'm saying that it looks like they just brought him back to see how the crowd will react to him and to sell some merchandise. What do
Eh,
you think about all that? What do you got?
See, this is my thought about this, and it brings me to this point here. Okay, you may bring somebody in for a one off, okay? Don't get me wrong, it's a respectful move, but all that. But at the end of the day, you got to ask yourself this question. You may have brought this man in for a one time appearance, but yet, what are you ultimately going to do with him now that this appearance happened? Because what do you do moving forward is the question. Do you bring him back for more? Do you ink him to a major run here? Or ultimately, do you leave him on the indie scene to where he's not seen or not heard enough, but these other fans see him and it's like, why y'all want him back in WWE bad, but guess what? He just came back, but now you don't utilize him? Like, where's the logic in having the guy come back onto the roster? There were so many scenarios of this happening in WWE. Like, why are we bringing back legends to push talent that needed to be pushed before you bring these legends back? That's almost like, here's the thing. You bring Trish in for a run, but ultimately you don't utilize Zelina Vega.
Yep.
So it's
Yep.
like, where's the logic in this? Yet you had Tiffany Stratton on this long run. Why didn't you pull the belt off Tiffany Stratton when you did the first time she met Jade Cargill and gave the belt to Jade?
They
Like,
don't
why
make
are
this.
we oversaturating talent that don't need to be oversaturated?
They don't make decisions for the culture no more, brother. It's just business now.
Right.
Back then it was culture mixed with business back then. Now it's just about business. It's not about, well, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You can't bring Raven back and like you can't have him losing because that's going to make him look like he's trash. Like, no, they don't care. They don't care.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, well, we'll have we'll bury Raven because because Snickers is going to give us $100,000 to bury Raven. And it's like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah, yeah.
Like,
And
like
it's funny you
what?
mention
What
and it's
the fuck?
funny you mention this, okay? Because one of my biggest pet peeves in today's industry of wrestling, why do we have to oversaturate the ring with ads?
Oh, for real? Oh man, I don't even know why you
Let's
said
not
that.
even go there, but I just wanted to bring that
I don't
point to,
even
to,
know
the,
why
to the
you said that.
forefront.
Jesus
I
Christ.
hate that they oversaturated it with ads because you
Uh,
take away from the nature of the ring. The
yeah,
ring is supposed to be sacred. So why are we
yeah.
oversaturating it with ads?
Uh, it's like just like going to Terry Funk's grave and then you just put a ring over him and wrestle over his grave and bleed all over
Right.
his grave and sweat all over his grave, like or step on his grave, pretty much. They just disrespect him. They don't give a shit. It's just about money. You know what I mean? And from my
Mm-hmm.
understanding, because I don't know if it's true, but from my understanding, TKO is in debt. And I understand if y'all are in debt and you have to make money, but if you made wrestling for the culture, maybe you wouldn't worry about money. Maybe y'all be good with money, as opposed to bringing up ticket prices and all this bullshit that they're doing because they think that that's the way to go. Like, no, that's
Hmm.
not the way to go. You
Because
scam.
I remember it was a time in wrestling, right? We can all sit there, pay a certain amount of money to go see this product, and have a ball at wrestling, and not feel like we didn't walk out with a memorable moment in our
Yeah,
minds.
yeah.
Today, you may get the memorable moment, but at what cost?
Right.
Like some of these things, you just don't have no control or no idea of what happens or what goes on. Like I feel like this is my point of this, and I'll just leave it at this. I
Mm.
say this to myself right here. I'm with the many fans that say this. TKO is ruining WWE's product, and that's where I stand.
Amen. Preaching. Hold on. Let me switch your mic because you burnt this mic too. God damn it. That's the second one. All right, here, take this third mic, man. This man burning the shit out. And I thought Kevin Impact was bad on the microphone. Get a load of this guy right here. He just topped that. Jesus Christ. All right. So that was amazing. That was excellent. And we could keep dissecting that because that's an excellent topic in case nobody has any more questions. But right now we do have some questions. And I want people to have that opportunity to be able to have them answered. So we're gonna go back to the questions. Um, take it from the top here with CJ Mondo asks, what is your favorite championship belt and prestige history behind it? NWA, ECW, WWE, New Japan Pro Wrestling, AEW, etc. What do you got?
Here's I'm glad that CJ mentioned this because this has been probably one of my favorite belts. And I'm gonna go back to this one particular belt. It ain't the spinner belt. I'll take you back to this one. The classic Winged Eagle WWE title.
All right, all right. Pause that real quick. Stop talking. Let me get this mic. Okay, this is the third microphone that you burnt on my damn podcast. All right, what are you doing right now? We about to go viral with this damn thing. Chill out. All right. All right. Give it, that man said the Wing Eagle Championship. Get this man his fourth mic. Go ahead, DJ. Keep spitting. He got some
There you
bars,
go.
y'all. Check it out.
The,
Keep spitting.
the, the Winged Eagle Championship had held so much prestige value for that company alone. I mean, outside of all of the titles you could have done, that Winged Eagle title needs to be the staple today.
Man, he gave me goosebumps. Mm-mm-mm.
And people want to
Mm-mm.
say, I don't know about sports, I don't know about this, I don't, man, they don't know unless they go in depth with me like you're doing.
Mm-mm-mm. And that's a interesting thing to bring up, but it's true, man. Because a lot of fans in this generation they don't like being told stuff like that. They think that it's negative. Honesty is not negative, folks. It's just that we live in a society where people like to live in a bubble, and that's fine, I guess, to some extent because everybody wants to get away. That's why we're here in the virtual CAW world because we're getting away because we created this world. I mean, this is a world we created. This is a different world from the world we live in. So people like to be able to do that, and I understand all that. But everybody has an opinion, and an opinion and a fact are two very different things. Okay, uh,
Hmm.
just because fans who are a fan of the product right now that think that companies like TKO and AW are not doing nothing wrong. They're saints and they're killing it right now with their business. You know what I'm saying? When we got, you know, Zack Ryder coming out on SmackDown, or you got Ethan Page on NXT with Chelsea Green because we got to put Nikki Bella to fight for the world title for God knows what reason on Raw against Stephanie Valkyrie, um, with no real talent to offer to begin with, just sex appeal. She's a diva. She's not even a WWE Women's Wrestler for crying out loud. but we don't have standards anymore. Now it's just about popularity and hype. CM Punk came from AEW. The cool thing, for a little bit was to boo him when a lot of people didn't really know what the hell was going on. They were just going off of whatever story was being fed to them. When here's a guy who was just speaking his mind, and then he was defending himself uh, with a bunch of wimps in AEW, being the Young Bucks and,
Hmm.
and being Hangman, who are softer than the pillows we all sleep on. Most of us sleep on. It's soft as shit. Tony Khan is soft as shit. You know what I mean? And a lot of people don't want to talk about it, or a lot of people just
And it's
want to
like
chill.
everybody want to sit here and kiss the ass of AEW product doing what they doing, but
Yeah.
guess what? Over here behind the scenes, it feel like TNA wrestling has been killing it across all cylinders. Yet this whole thing with them in NXT is kind of feeding off of one another.
All right. Now let me
But
get
it's
this.
the competition.
You did it again. You did it again. You burnt the damn mic. You burnt the damn mic once again. The same thing I've been saying. I believe TNA is the best wrestling company on TV right now. The same thing. The same thing. I agree with you.
It's
I
like
agree with
this. And most people don't even want to sit here and admit that, oh, you think just because TNA is on the platform that they have now, do you think that they wouldn't be elevated even higher if they was on an actual national televised channel?
with the crowd that they're drawing, by the way,
With
the crowds that
and
they're doing right now. This is a company
exactly.
that was dying. This company was dying in like 2012 after the Hogan shit and everything. They were just dying
It
off.
felt like the moment that everything turned around was the moment I think as soon as they went back to those infamous letters. Instead of when they broke away from
Yeah,
that Impact
yeah,
name
I
and
agree.
went back to TNA wrestling,
Yep.
skyrocket.
They started turning it around, and they had a Team Canada, man. What's his name? Chubby guy.
Eric Young.
Nah, not Eric Young. The
Not
coach,
Eric Young, but
Demore,
I forgot the
Scott,
guy's name.
Scott Demore, Scott Demore. Scott,
Scott, this guy, the
I
guy that
saw,
was over there on that was doing all the matches
yeah,
before Santino Morella came.
yeah, I saw Scott Demore in person at. I didn't go to any wrestling shows. The last show that I went to was a TNA show because I knew it would be worth my time, and it was the anniversary, whatever it was, 10 years or whatever. One
You do
episode.
realize one thing, Kevin.
Ah,
He runs the new company that's out right now, MLP or
I don't
whatever
know.
company.
I don't.
It,
I don't know. I don't know much about it, but I had heard he went to another company after TNA,
yeah, he's running. He's
and
running the company.
I agree with you that he was the guy who kind of led the ship with them going back to the original look and theme music, and to bring that old school TNA back because you have to understand that if you're gonna paint the canvas, you might as well put a cool fucking design on there that means something. In TKO's WWE, you got, I don't know, cell phone, whatever company design on the mat because they don't give a shit. They're making money off of that. On the TNA mat, you got TNA logo or whatever's on there. And I know they got ads. I think I've seen ads on their shit too. I'm not going to be a hypocrite neither. But their main logo is as a tribute to their product. Okay. We don't see a big old WWE logo on the mat. We see sponsorship, but that's besides the point. So that look that they had adapted going
Hmm.
back to that traditional look, I feel it was important because it brought back that vibrance. And before I pass you the mic and you burn another one and I give you a new one, um, you take, I'm gonna give you this example. McDonald's. I
Right.
spoke to a good friend of mine, no kills, no damage, said something very important, or that I consider was important. That if you look at McDonald's now, and this is me bringing it up, but he says something interesting too. McDonald's right now, you go to McDonald's, and I choose not to. I don't go to McDonald's, but for those that go to McDonald's, you look outside of it, and it's just like a regular old, you know, worn out building. Is what it looks like. The color's
Right.
not fine. It's not interesting. There's nothing exciting about it besides you getting your food and then you get the hell out of there. But what if you went to McDonald's in the 90s? Now you go to
Mm-hmm.
McDonald's in the 90s and you got big old Ronald McDonald on top of the building smiling at you. You got the Hamburglar and all of them, all the
Mm-hmm.
characters. So that stood out. And that to me, it creates like image is everything because it creates a vibe. It's very important. A lot of fans now don't really give a shit how the arena looks. They don't care. The WWE will make an arena where it's just a square and a logo. That's it, and everybody just comes out. There's no passion. There's nothing.
And
It's
it's
just a.
like
It's
this, and this is where I'm gonna feed off of what you just said there because it's funny. 90% of the time, okay, you would go to a wrestling show, okay, and quite frankly, you would go there for not just the matches, but you go there to see what the atmosphere is about. You go there to see what excitement you're gonna get out of it. But in most cases, the ring, the arena was your stage. That was your canvas. When you went to see the rings, you went there to see wrestling. In today's standard, you're not going there to see wrestling. Wrestling has now became entertainment in some way. Like
yeah, whatever,
where, where,
whatever
where,
that is. Corporate
what the fuck
entertainment.
was entertainment when? Oh, I don't know. You 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 put all these jokes and all of these narratives and this, that, and the third out in front of us. Jokes is okay. I can understand a joke here and there, but we came to see fucking wrestling.
Yes,
We
sir.
came for the moves. We came to see a
Those
barn
segments.
burner of a match.
Yeah, them segments. Everything. The whole
It's
show
like the
matters. Good
segments
arena.
run too long. Like back in the day, you could sit there and be like, "Yo, okay, here's your small 10-second segment," and then we get like 3, 4 matches right then and there. I'm like, "Thank you." We ain't
Right.
come for the segments. We came to see the action. We came to see
Yeah,
what
I
we
mean
can
that's big
soak
respect.
in.
That's big respect going to the wrestlers. Not spending too much time on it. You get back into the ring. And if you're gonna tell a story on the side, it's got to be compelling, man. It's got to make sense. It's got to be interesting. Anytime we had like Stone Cold trying to kill Triple H or Undertaker rising
Mm-hmm.
from the dead or something interesting, we want to watch that. We want to like Al Snow's dog, Pepper, getting fed by him by the big boss man, or when boss man was at the graveyard with the big show and he rode his pops out the grave. Like, what I'm saying? It's cliche, but I mean, it's entertaining and it's compelling and interesting compared to some of the hocus pocus vulgarity bullshit you get now. So you
Mm-hmm.
might as well just stick to the ring because you ain't got no stories to tell anymore. And I'm a, I'm a,
Exactly.
I'm a even defend the McMahon family because you brought Stephanie McMahon up earlier. Even when the product was built around them, it was compelling because you had something going on, with the family, and they'll spend
It's like,
time in the
and it's
office.
like you sit here, and I'm glad that now it's like I could really see the reason why you would induct Stephanie McMahon now because she was the catalyst behind the women's division and much appreciated and much respect for what she did. But without Stephanie, that women's division would feel very dull and bland because the men are always going to be the standard. At that point, don't get me wrong, but in most cases, the women have to have their shine too. So,
Yeah,
how are you
I
supposed to
agree.
give everybody a chance and not feel like we're oversaturating X, Y, and Z male wrestler, but we want to give maybe 3, 4 matches to the women? Like, but you don't see 3, 4 matches going to the women. It's almost like you maybe get two at top, two at best,
Yeah,
on any given night. You may get two at best, or you may get two and maybe in a possible tag team match at best. But you're not giving them maybe okay here. Let's give them like a grand 3, 4 matches for the night, and we dial down the men to 2 matches. Okay, I can understand if you gave 4 matches to the women, but them 4 matches better be compelling enough to the point where it attracts people to it.
I
That's
agree.
what's wrong. They're not attracting people to the matches.
I'm gonna add this. I'm gonna add something to the women, and then I'm gonna say this first before I go to the women. You have a lot of promoters that are just really more about the money right now, and they keep putting people on TV who don't belong there. There's a lot of people on TV that still need time to develop or just don't belong there at all, and they're not going.
Somebody,
Oh, this,
somebody put a bomb right here because he just hit on something.
you said what?
I was like, somebody just put a bomb right here. You just hit on something just major.
I did.
You hit on something major.
Okay. I'm gonna let you get back to it. I'm gonna let you get back to it, but I'm gonna just say that I don't apologize when I say that. If somebody's offended by what I'm saying, really don't give a damn. But the with the wrestling, they have promoters that they're not going all. This person is ruining the culture of wrestling. This person is ruining what Raven then laid down for and Terry Funk and all these guys. They're not thinking like that. They're going, oh, this person's my friend, so we're gonna make money together. And it's like, motherfucker, what? You know what I'm saying? And like that's the mentality. It's like there's just no passion. And with the women, maybe there was a time when women wasn't a viable commodity. I respect you still there, DJ?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, okay. I respect your thoughts and comments about Stephanie McMahon, but I don't agree that Stephanie McMahon was the one who kind of opened the door for these girls. I think that a lot of talented women kind of stepped up, and then Stephanie spoke up. You know what I mean? I'll probably give her some credit for that. But coming from the generation of divas, you had good wrestlers when divas were around. It's just that it wasn't really centered around them having good matches. It was about sex appeal. The girls we grew up with was either managers coming out to show their tits and body, or in the case of Alita and Trish, they'll probably have a banger here and there. So going into the so-called women's revolution, that changed because the when the women's revolution pay-per-view flopped, you had a lot of so-called macho mans that didn't really like that. I don't have a problem with women's wrestling. I think
See,
that hold on, let me say this real quick. I think with women's wrestling, there's some women who, you know, got it, some don't got it. And the ones that don't got it shouldn't be there. They don't belong on TV competing. They got to get to work. And if you can't figure it out, you just don't belong on TV. I'm sorry. I don't care what you look like. You could be a manager or something, but you shouldn't be in the ring. You know.
like,
And but now we're in the era that you don't have that problem no more. Now they can wrestle, and they're viable and sellable commodities. From Jordan Grace to Stephanie Valkyrie, there's a bunch of them all over the place, and not just in TKO, AEW. The women in AEW are killing it, and
mhm.
worldwide. You know what I'm saying? Even in TNA, they're killing it. So we don't really have a problem no more where we can't go and sit there and go, oh, I can't watch like Tony Storm. No, you ain't got that problem. Tony
Like,
Storm's a worldwide star now.
right, right.
Go ahead. The mic's yours.
But here's my thing about this, right?
Uh,
Outside of the names you mentioned, but I'm gonna go back to that one point that you said. I said you dropped a bomb on them,
okay, yeah.
where promoters are utilizing talent that should not be utilized on the grand stage.
I
For
agree.
example, here's the thing about it, right?
Uh,
Prime example one. Why are we utilizing Nia Jackson when she's a walking injury to wrestlers waiting to happen?
no comment. I know
Hey. I'm just throwing it out there. Number two,
it's a beautiful
why are
thing.
we not utilizing the street profits effectively, but you want to see
Uh,
them as more of a backstage act.
there you go, doing it again, burning mics. There you go, doing it again. Listen, man, CJ and TNA does not have enough to cover this budget. These microphones are expensive here. You just burning my whole set down on this damn podcast. I mean, the whole place
Hey,
is
hey,
on fire. That man said the
I'm just
street
calling
profits,
I'm
bro.
just calling like it is.
Bro, Montez Ford is so underrated. Everybody working at TKO should go to jail. That he's still not
Like,
world
and
champion
then like
2 3
now
years
you
back.
see why I said TNA is killing WWE. I mean TKO is killing WWE's product. Ever since that sale, they went plummet. Like they don't know who the heck to utilize. They don't know who to utilize. It's like
They don't.
you're sitting up here with a gold mine talent, yet you're not utilizing these two effectively. I
And
can
not
call
just
out a
that, man.
lot of things that's wrong with with WWE, but that's neither here or there. It's like evidently you have to figure out who is the top stars you have because right now we're not seeing your best foot forward with these talents. There should be some names that should be called up from NXT right now that should ultimately be on the grand stage. Like, why are you not utilizing Carmelo Hayes?
Oh my God. Yo, you gotta chill out, man. I feel like we're gonna be best friends after you leave this podcast, man. Bro, Carmelo Hayes, man. Stop playing with me, man. And he's still green because he's still trying to prove himself. But like these are the people you need to be focusing on.
It's like you gotta ask yourself this question. You was running WWE, you would know who to utilize right off the strength of seeing them. You would know who to fall back from after seeing them. Not to be pointing out names or anything, but you know who to utilize in general. Because in most cases, you would utilize this talent more if you've seen what they did in previous stages that they've been in. They've been
Yeah.
elevating themselves, but it felt like WWE has their favorites. Just like I said in the EFED business, this so-called favoritism plays a huge part.
And nobody seems to mind. A lot of these fans is this is what I call the brain rot era. Like nobody's questioning shit. Nobody's stepping up. Nobody has charisma. It doesn't matter.
I
You know,
mean,
if
you
we
have
friends, whatever.
like because hear me on this, and I know you probably may be curious to know why I'm seeing certain things. Okay,
Uh,
one podcaster pointed out the obvious to me that I follow. I don't know if you follow him. He goes by the name of JD from NY206, the ultimate guy of truth bombs in professional wrestling. He's the one that's been calling out the madness in every company.
really.
He calls out the madness in every company. Just like I'll say right now, what was the point of you pulling the title off of Santana, Santana, Mike
Yeah.
Santana, and giving it to the guy that they gave it to now? You had a hot hand with Mike Santana. What does Frankie
I'm
Kazarian bring to the table that Mike Santana wasn't going to bring?
I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not because I have some inside people. And from my understanding, I guess they had Mike drop the belt because he's going over to TKO.
He
I
shouldn't.
did.
He shouldn't leave TNA.
No, I agree with you. I said the same thing. I'm like, that's one of the dumbest things I heard and a stupid decision on his part because number one, there's too many people in WWE right now. If you take
You get like as
Ethan
it
Page,
feels like this is my thing about it, right? Because you just recently they just basically revealed, I think just yesterday or day before yesterday, when I saw on Twitter that
yeah,
basically um Joe Henry is apparently leaving TNA to sign with WWE,
Yeah, he signed with them.
and I'm like, okay, that's cool and all,
Yeah.
but now you're gonna put him in with that pool of guys that ain't gonna be utilized effectively,
Yep.
and then you want to bring him up to the SmackDown roster, but ultimately, are you going to utilize him?
And I
Because
hate that they just put him on NXT, man. I hate that mentality. Like these guys are talented enough to be
it's
on
like
TV. They can be stars.
there should have been no reason why most of the talent was on NXT in the first place.
Yeah. What can I tell you? I'm just toxic. I'm a hater. What can I tell you? I'm offensive. But we got a little bit of time left, man. Before we go off the air, I'm gonna just switch it so that I could give CJ his time. CJ had asked this question. We'll see if we can get to all of them. Let's see. CJ asked, "What do you think about Smoky Mountain Wrestling?" I know a thing or two about Smoky Mountain, but let's see what you got, DJ.
See, here's my thing, okay? When
Mhm.
I grew up around the time, I didn't really know about that company, and I'm being dead honest here
Yeah,
because in my honest thing around that time frame, I was really WWF and mainly going into certain other companies like when they was around. But if I had to, I would definitely try to see if there's any footage around those certain matches that I can watch that would make me learn more about Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
well, Smoky Mountain was a company that was ran, if I'm not mistaken, by Jim Cornette. And Jim Cornette, it was a territory he had. Um, and the towns that he was booking Smoky Mountain, like you had a lot of racist fans and different shit like that that went on. And my boy New Jack had went. He did a little bit of that. He got some hate. He had made the OJ Simpson comment when he was a Smoky Mountain with Mustafa, who was his tag team partner. I didn't really know about Mustafa like that. I knew New Jack, through the video game and whatnot. I had wrestled him in not in person, but in the game, me and No Kills, No Damage in the old JTV, the old PlayStation days, PS1, the ODCW. But um, he was there, and there was a few other people. Several people came through that territory, Smoky Mountain. I can't remember everybody. I think maybe the Midnight Express may have been there. Tommy Rich with CJ Likes, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they were very influential in the wrestling business as before ECW, which was ran by Todd Gordon. Todd Gordon is before Paul Heyman that ran. I think it was East. I don't remember what the first part was for the original ECW, but it had a different name and stuff like that. You had different territories. Like you take JTV, if you take JTV wrestling, you make it like cause TKO, or you make us like a TNA and TKO, and then you have the other ones. The
Right.
CJ Mondo's TNA, your wrestling company were like territories that were influential to JTV. You see what I'm saying? That's kind of what Smoky
Mm-hmm.
Mountain. So that's why it was important, and it has a lot of good shit that went on over there. I got to do more research on Smoky Mountain myself, but I mean, at least I know about it a little bit. Um, let's see what else we got. See, so Nutty O Gaming asks, outside of wrestling, what other sport you a fan of? Sports fan?
Yep, huge sports fan. Looking forward to my team this Sunday playing against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buffalo Bills
Oh,
fan,
Tampa Bay
Sabres
Buccaneers.
fan for the hockey. I'm a Yankees fan for the MLB basketball. Kind of, I'm a huge fan of a certain couple of players, but not really. I found my niche for a team yet.
Right.
Because when I started watching basketball, it was always about Jordan and the Bulls, and we all know that's a different topic in itself.
Yeah. I don't really follow sports as much as I used to. My MLB Yankees team dies off at around 2007, and then I still love baseball, but I just don't know who's anybody. You don't have
Right.
Beirut, you don't have Giambi or nothing like that no more. It's just like,
You don't
you know,
have like the star names that we're used to seeing back in the day.
right. So it's just like, I'm not saying they're not talented. Of course they're talented, but I just don't know them. And if you don't have that aura about you, I don't care about you. It's just that simple.
Hmm.
The only person that I know, I'm gonna tell you how bad it is with me in baseball. The only person that I know from baseball right now is Aaron Judge. That's it. I don't know nobody. Not one other person by name. I don't know nobody. And I've been trying to get to know people, but I just, it's hard because I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting old. I think I'm just
So
but
much comes in, and yeah, I get it.
yeah, so that's that, because this is about you. This is about your responses. So hopefully that answers your question, Nadio. Let's see if we can get to some of the other questions here. We get ready to wrap up soon. CJ Mondo asks, "What do you think about WCW and Sting and Goldberg?" That's an interesting one.
The funny, it's funny that you bring WCW up because this company has so many iconic moments that I've fond with. Four Horsemen, Goldberg to Sting to so many legendary moments there. Even the NWO, yeah. WCW, I think, was kind of at a hot streak because if it wasn't for the Monday Night Wars, that was the golden era between that Attitude Era and what WCW was doing. Kind of ultimately led fans into wrestling more.
I agree.
But yeah, you
Worldwide.
get the rest of the history from there.
Yeah, I agree. That was a worldwide thing. Major
Because you
impacts
ain't
were
know
made.
who you wanted to tune into every time, whether it be you'll be tuned in over here to WWE one minute, the next you'll just want to flop over to TNT for Monday Night Raw from Nitro.
All the time. I used to watch Nitro for 1 hour when they used to go on at 7, and then and at 8, and then at 9 I'll switch over to WWF Raw, and it was like that for years that went on. But I'll still tune in, and then on a commercial break, you you change the channel. Yo, what is Nitro doing? What is WCW doing? Okay, let me go back.
It's like when
Depends
you
on.
know it's like you have a gut feeling in your mind. You back to say you be watching WWE, and next you know, as soon as you be hearing maybe on the alternate TV in another room, your brother may be watching that. You hear that NWO music, flip.
Even if you was a WCW fan, you was still changing the channel to watch what was on WWF. Even if you was, it don't matter what you was watching. You
It
could have
don't
been
matter
a
what you was
ECW
doing.
fan.
Like it was always that bounce factor.
All right, so go ahead. You still got your question with
Like it was
WCW
that
Sting and
bounce
Goldberg.
factor that basically said, okay, you may see hot moments over here in WCW, but then to be that one oddball match, like say for example, I don't know if you did this when the time happened, right? You'll be watching WCW Nitro one minute, the next minute, the day that made you turn the channel over to WWE. I think it was the moment where Mankind won the heavyweight championship over The Rock, and you tuned over to WWE the moment that happened.
Tony Schiavone. Yep.
And I'm
A lot,
like, that
a
was
lot of
it.
a lot of people did. A lot of people did. I don't think I was watching when that happened, but I've heard of that story. It's an old story that occurred that um WCW went on there and was like, they used to give away the storyline sometimes on WCW what the WWF was doing because WCW was live shows and WWE shows were recorded, and they was able to get information from it before it come out. So they had the
It was
announcer
like
Tony
way,
Schiavone.
and that it's funny that you mentioned that because every time I would watch WCW, every time it would be like Eric Bischoff would pop up in like one segment of the show. oh, don't go watching WWE product. Like you rather be over here with WCW because this match happened and this person won, and this person won. And sure enough, you would go tune over to WCW, or if you had a DVR at the time, you would go watch Raw and be like, damn, this shit did happen.
Yeah. Depending on what interests you. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what interests you, because if they went on WCW and was like, yo, don't watch the Survivor Series because Bret the Hitman Hart's gonna get screwed, you'd be like, oh shit, I'm gonna order on pay-per-view right now. I need to see that.
Fact.
You know, so that's just the
It
thing.
makes you intrigued to see what they was really talking about.
Right. So you know, it will work out sometimes and sometimes it will backfire. But I mean that was definitely something that happened, you know, and it answers the
Like,
question.
and it was the suspense factor of both shows that made it feel outstanding.
Okay, but what about Goldberg and Sting to answer his question?
So now, Goldberg and Sting, I'll bring two perfect examples with these two guys. With Goldberg, he came in, he started that whole, oh, I'm a kick ass person, but also I'm gonna run through your whole entire fucking division.
Right.
And if it wasn't for him starting that streak and bullying through people, you wouldn't have known who Goldberg is. But that's what made me feel closer to, like, I respected Goldberg because not only because of the outlet that he brought to the table in wrestling, but I didn't notice that back before he came into wrestling, he was around Deion Sanders and the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
When he had hair.
so it's like I just kind of was more fond around him, but then Sting, being the icon that he is, and I respect his career, what he done in his business.
Amen.
Sting was probably one of my ultimate favorite WCW personas, next to the Four Horsemen, next to Goldberg. But Sting was like what attracted me to WCW.
All right. Sting surfer or Sting in that black and white?
Crow Sting.
I believe you. Well said. All right. Before we close this thing out here, let's see. Let's see if we can get another one. This is a weird question from CJ as we get ready to close the show out. CJ asks, what celebrity are you a fan of wrestling now or non-wrestling related? That's a strange question.
What celebrity? Hmm. That's an intriguing one, but I don't really have like a celebrity that was majorly into wrestling outside of maybe the one moment back a while ago when Cindy Lauper was around helping the women's division grow around
Man,
that time.
this man's got some good taste too. He's not just smart, he's got some good taste. He said Cindy Lauper. Cindy Lauper, bro. Any moron, excuse me. Um, anybody who don't know what the hell they're talking about would have been like, they would have said like, um, what's this dude's name? I can't even remember his damn name. You know, they would have gave you like a weird name for a select, oh, a Cardi B or something, you know, popping up or whatever. Like, are we talking about groundbreaking? Groundbreaking was Cindy Lauper. Cindy Lauper was groundbreaking when she came on there, you know, because you was bringing that
Because
pop
it
culture.
feels like when she was there, it felt like most of the women's division kind of elevated around her at that time. Like they kind of gave the women a little
Wendy
opportunity
Richter,
when she came around because she used to come out to the ring with, I forgot who it was
she
at
had like
that moment.
Wendy Richter with her.
Yeah, I don't know if it was Wendy Richter or if it was somebody at that time,
There was
but
others,
I,
and
I
Captain Lou. She used to run with Captain Lou, but she had someone
yeah,
else
she
she
was
used to run with.
yeah, because like I remember she was around like a certain group of people when it
Yeah,
came down
yeah,
to it,
yeah,
and then like the next other big moment that I'll say that was a big celebrity moment for me, and I know you're probably gonna trip when I say this.
Mm,
Bam Bam Bigelow versus Lawrence Taylor.
okay, that meant something to you.
That match, I say to myself, I'm like, yo, the first ever time I ever saw a football player be a wrestler and was naturally doing it, but didn't know what the fuck he was doing.
Right. Nah,
Like
he was
LT being the figure that he is and the muscle stature that he has in the NFL, didn't think that he was going to physically bring that nature into the wrestling business.
he brought it, but let's just say there's reasons why they don't show most of the match. They just show certain shots. His
Right.
shot, his shots in the match was, he was hitting them hard. He made it look like he belonged there, but at the same time, Bam Bam was so talented that he could wrestle, and he could wrestle a roll of toilet paper, and it would have been a 5-star match
Right.
on pay per view. So he, you know, but LT I think held his ground in that match against Tyson. I said Tyson against Bam Bam. I think that was WrestleMania 12, if I'm not mistaken, or 11 or
Yeah.
10, like 12 or 11. And
Because then like that match right there, I think that's what propelled them because I think the next big moment that they had, I think they had NFL stars going against wrestlers in like a little NFL versus WWE like kind of battle royal at the moment at one of the pay-per-views.
yeah, all right. Let's see if we got a. I'm gonna probably take one more question, and then I'm gonna go to my last topic. So, CJ Mondo asks, "What was your favorite ECW World Heavyweight Championship match?" Mm, that's tough.
I'm gonna put it like this. One of the biggest moments that I say right now that was like my favorite one that stood out to me, Rob Van Dam versus Sabu.
It's like the perfect ECW match. Where you're going to be able to have it all. You could get extreme, but you're also going to have two technical.
A real wrestling moments that happened in that match. You may get your extreme spots here and there, but then you're getting wrestling.
Right. All right, we got 5 minutes left for the show before we get ready to close out.
Yep.
I'll be happy to take more questions if you guys got them and want to toss them, but I'm gonna switch it now and go back to my note right here that I made. Um, no, we talked a little bit about earlier about some of the minus that goes on in CAW. Some of these individuals in call who they're just not able to distinguish the difference between real life and the CW world, and often you see that they'll take something that goes on in a video game or some EFED or some promo or whatever, flip it, and then turn it serious and to where they're trying to get your address. They want to square up. They want to try to expose you, steal your pictures, all this weird shit. And you you me you you know me and you and everybody else that's been in call have experienced these things. We've seen individuals take shit out of proportion and how childish it can be at times. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What? what message do you want to put out there about this? You know, with CJ talking about it and me and some of your people and Enrique. So, you know, what what would you say about that topic and call?
Here's my overall assessment with that, okay? And don't take this the wrong way because I feel like in this day and age, some people don't have no common sense to
Right.
know that people are trying to separate struggles, trying to separate everyday lifestyle, leave everything in that time frame. When they come and get on this game, they feel like they got a place to escape reality. They have
Mm,
that luxury to say, oh, here, we got a little window of hope where we can come into WWE 2K25 to where we can get into the game, get into this arena, build our call, and feel like, oh, for 1 minute, you got at least a mindset to say, this is my time to take and be from IRL to being a character for a couple of minutes, watch the match, do a little trash talk, and then clip back into that everyday struggle.
right.
You got to get back on that move, that grind, that narrative of working your 9 to 5 and this, that, and the third. But then when you come in the door again, it's back to the car reality. And from that point on, you got to say to yourself, this is where people have to escape. If people can separate that from being in character sometimes, we may have a better community that can be flourishable. But some people take character way too seriously.
Right.
And you know the individuals that do it, that stay in character 24/7, 365, even though you're still working, you're still in character, yet you never break out of that. Sometimes you gotta break out of that character to really find that there is a lot more than just being in the E-Fed world.
I agree with it 100%. I don't even want to butcher it by even adding to it. But my final question to close the show out is going to be this for you. How would you want DJ Chaotic to be remembered when it's all said and done?
When it's all said and done, I just want my name to ring bells in everybody's mind when I'm done. Come to me when I'm done with this whole thing and say to yourself, how did you build? How did you grow? How did you elevate? How did you take on the everyday struggle of being the champion, the everyday factor of whatever the case may be? How did you ultimately see yourself being not only as good in the ring, but also as good as a promoter? And I'll put this one thing in perspective. You got to study your craft. You have to build what you want your character to be. Go look at the tape. Go look at the footage out there. There's plenty of wrestling knowledge to be soaked in. It just takes that one person to go and watch it.
Amazing. Amazing interview. DJ Chaotic from the box office hit Kevin Impact to you. It's been an honor and a privilege speaking with you for this episode and you being my guest. I do appreciate it. You touched my heart with this one, brother. You got a lot of respect from me because we like a lot of the same things and we think the same as well, which is pretty dope. That's how me and CJ started getting along. But I appreciate it, man. You know, definitely want to have you back for a part two. And in part two, what I want to talk to you about is going to be the Titan National Alliance. I want to talk to you about that, and I want to ask you about some of the talent from over there. So there's definitely going to be a part two at one point in time because this has been amazing. I'm blown away. Thank you so much for
Oh
coming
yeah,
on tonight.
most definitely. Shout out to CJ for setting this up. Shout out to Austin Ace Carter, owner of AAW. Shout out to JMR, owner of owner of his company. And also, please, if everybody could take 5 minutes of their time, go subscribe to Chaotic Wrestling Network and my gaming partner and buddy, Dark Nebrew. He helps me with most of my game content that I do and all that good stuff. So please go follow the pages. And if y'all need any more information, y'all can add me on Facebook, Devin Chaotic.
There you go. And you send me the link to your buddy's YouTube, and I'll add it to the show description, and I'll add your show to the show description as well. So if y'all want to find that stuff, it's going to be in the description in a little bit once the video gets updated. And that's that, man.
All
That's
right.
that.
Much appreciated, man.
All right. As I close the show out here, I want to give a special shout out to CJ. Like DJ Chaotic said, CJ Mondo is the guy who put this episode together, and I appreciate it because this has been an amazing experience. I expected it to be good, but I didn't know it was going to be this good. You know, this is like being offered a slice or two of pizza, and then instead you get a whole pizza pie. So this has been really amazing experience for me, and I look forward. And anybody tuning in, if you want to be a guest on this show, man, you can find me on as Kevin Impact on Facebook. Hit me up. You know it. You know the show. Subscribe, smash that like button, and we will catch y'all on the next episode of the City of Impact. Who's going to be next? You're going to have to tune in to find out. Now, if you can, top that.